So guys, I'm back from my week-long ban. I got banned for a video. If you want to take a look at what happened, I will link it in the description, but I don't feel like talking about it. Talked about it on my little podcast with my wife. Pretty cool, huh? That's been fun. No drama on that podcast, honestly. It's actually been very cool. I don't talk about, like, we just kind of talk about our stuff, and we actually have some pretty intelligent conversations too. Because my wife, if you guys didn't know, she's a behavioral specialist for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I don't know if you knew that. Nobody did. Anyway, if you want to see it, you can check it out there. Anyway, in the week I've been gone, apparently Sneako had a bit of a redemption arc, which I actually covered that before my ban. I was only able to release it the day of my ban was over. And, God bless. Good for him. He seems to be, I guess maturing or whatever. So that's cool. And then I guess then they have a this is this video from Destiny. Apparently Sneako destroys the Redpill Godfather. Is this Sneako? Destiny's there too. Sneako destroys the Redpill Godfather on Fresh and Fit. So it's this is interesting. I guess we're, this is gonna be fun. Let's get it watching.
Hypothetical for just 5 seconds, okay? This is no joke here.
But then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family?
What is a high value?
True. What happened? What is happening? Stop. God says for sure. Sorry.
Idea of a high value man is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family?
What is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing:
guys, a high value man is a man that loves and respects his spouse and his family and does what he has to do to take care of them. His kids are very important. If we don't have kids, we can't live anymore, right? We need babies. Yeah. I mean, I know, like, high value male and like the manosphere, it is pretty ambiguous. It's kind of interesting how some of the manosphere is very indirect about what a thing is, so that they don't, like, when you call them out on it, they say like, oh, that's not what it means, right? They never have like a really sound definition. According to Myron, it's you have to have at least $100,000 a year, right? Sleep with 50 women, and I don't know, not like think women are gross. It's crazy, but okay.
It doesn't matter what I'm going to say as a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your tweet.
Douche nozzles like yourself.
Whoa!
Have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are idiots. Why do you guys come in here from Twitch straight? Like, how?
You don't think Ben Shapiro's a high value man?
Let's take for do I?
Honestly, I think he is. I mean, listen, I disagree with a lot of what Ben Shapiro says, but I mean, he seems to be a really good father and husband. I saw him talk on Lex Friedman. I would genuinely recommend watching that, or my reaction to it. It was really good. He talks about a lot of stuff, and he gets a little bit vulnerable on there too, which I respect. I respect men that are willing to get vulnerable without attention seeking, because that's like a big deal. But he gets a little bit vulnerable. He talks about how to deal with like the hate that he gets, and I know people don't like him, but he still gets hate, and he talks about how he deals with that, and he talks about something that I can resonate with, which is the fact that him having like a particular amount of people in his life that he listens to criticism from, because the internet can be very disproportionate in its criticism, even when you're wrong. I mean, it's hard to deny Ben is like a pretty good guy, or like, at least he has good. I think that again, I don't like I don't like any of it. I like him as a person. I don't like his political beliefs. Right, so I can respect that.
I think he is. I don't think he's a high value man.
He owns his own business. He's like one of the most successful alt media platforms in the world. He's married. He's fucking young sweetheart.
Right. You know who else is not a high value guy? Elon Musk. Let's see. Who else? Jeff Bezos. Yeah, go back to Twitch. That's some advice for you.
Then what is a high value male to this guy? I mean, I don't like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, but like, what makes a high value man? I'm so confused. This is so
real advice.
Your boy's here. Rollo Tomassi. Shout out to Rollo Tomassi in the fucking house.
I know that these two love Rollo. Like, they're like obsessed with him. It's weird.
Bro, why are you in the chat, bro? Like, he's always in the chat.
What else? Hey, chill. He's probably doing his hair right now.
Bro, he's our homie, man. Destiny just. It's not just you. Like, I see him in every show I go on. Just dude's like, are you always online? He'll be here next week. Are you serious, bro? Valuetainment. Yeah, Pearl show, everything.
Would you debate Rollo?
Of course I would.
He would body you.
Okay,
he would body you. All right,
just sure. As long as his wife lets him do it,
Bro.
What the? Destiny just sends this week. OF girls to debate me because he's too scared to come to Vegas. It's sit across the table for me. Offer has been open since November.
Damn.
If he wants to debate,
is it worth it though? Why not just debate him on his Twitch stream? Is my question. I mean, like, go all the way to Vegas. I understand Destiny moves around for like Fresh and Fit, but whether you like Fresh and Fit or not, because they're really bad. They're just bad people. They have like a platform with a lot of viewers, so like from a creator perspective, I could see why he would take the drive. Also, Destiny lives in Miami now, but Like, why would he go to Vegas for this? Like, who's Rollo? Is he even successful? I don't know. I guess maybe he is, but why not just debate him on Twitch?
Hey man, somebody else's podcast, that's fine. But I'm not gonna go and like dig this guy
He'll
up
be
like
here next
fucking
week.
Lazarus from the underworld to try to resurrect his career. That's not my job.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
We should do a round table.
Okay, round table.
If he wants to, yeah.
And he should debate your ass.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, great. Let's pull up Rollo's tweet real quick because this has been a point of
And just so you know, the reason I don't like Fresh Fit is because like they're rape apologists, right? I mean, there was a girl who talked about how she was sexually assaulted and whatnot, and their first thing, specifically Myron, was to be like, basically, well, you should have picked a better guy, and it's like, okay, you're valueless to society if you're gonna say stuff like that. Like, we're kind of beyond that. Like, that's weak. You don't tell somebody who, it doesn't matter what happened to them, that like it's their fault for something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just pathetic and horrible. And you don't take like complete lack of accountability for weak people. That's why I don't think Fresh and Fit are men. They're boys cosplaying as men. They're pathetic.
contention
with Sneako.
a lot of things. We got it right there. So this was a tweet, right? It goes, and this was from what, a week ago? About a week ago. So the quickest path. The quickest path to becoming a high value man. Number 1, don't get married, avoid family creation, vasectomy in your 20s, lift consistently, eliminate all sedations, learn game and networking, play to your strengths, build wealth, resist easing up on your focus. And it's the quickest path to becoming a high.
Okay, so I don't know what a high value male is. I'm assuming we'll get into it. But based on this, don't not get married is stupid. I'm just gonna let you guys know. If you want to focus on yourself exclusively and not get married, like you do you. You have the right to do that. But there's a difference between a personal preference and a personal philosophy versus advocating for that philosophy generally. I think you should get married. It's a good idea. If you don't want to, that's fine. But getting married is a really good thing. And I also understand that in this high value male sphere, getting married is bad because women are bad and they'll take all your money. The most common experience for people who get married is that you support each other and you make people better. Like, I'm not a good person, and I'm pretty open about this. I'm not proud of myself. Like, you know, I've been a shitty person. With my wife, I feel like this is the first time I'm proud of myself, which is like a really weird thing to say. Having a spouse can make you a better person. I think that like it helps you build, you know, two people working, able to collect wealth together. You're supposed to be able to trust that person. That should be your best friend. Very high aspirations for this role, but it can be a very, very powerful thing. So I would say getting married is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You don't have to go force yourself to get married. That's silly, but finding the right person. Vasectomy is just dumb. I don't know why. Just why? Wear a condom. If you want to sow your wild oats, be my guest. But a vasectomy is such a disproportionate response. Like, you don't need to do that. You can wear a condom. You don't have to have a bunch of sex with people. It gets in the way a lot of the times. Having like constantly trying to go find girls to sleep with gets in the way. Like, it happens. Live consistently. That's good advice. Obviously, very good. You should do some kind of physical. Like, you should work on your mind, body, and spirit. Whether it's weightlifting or jogging or even just walking, nature walks, anything is fine. If you want to lift, I always tell people 5x5 strong list, great way to start. It's a low volume, high frequency routine for beginners that teaches you how to squat, bench, deadlift, rows, etc., etc. If you're older, I would recommend doing like Romanian deadlifts instead of deadlifts because they're less stressful on your body. And deadlifting is great for increasing your deadlift, but not everybody has that goal. Eliminate all sedations. I don't know what that is. Is that like drugs and alcohol? What is a sedation? What does he mean by a sedation? A state of calmness, relaxation, or sleeplessness caused by certain drugs. Okay, so it sounds like he's saying no drugs and alcohol. Not bad advice. I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking alcohol every once in a while, but it's good to overall not have a dependency on these things. Learn game and networking. I don't know what learning game is. I'm assuming that means fuck girls. I mean, you should learn to be able to flirt and be effective when you're dating, but you don't need to be a player. Networking, that's fine. Pretty ambiguous. I don't know what to say. I would say focus on getting a decent job. If you have an idea of a job, go to school for a job. That's a great idea. If you want to be a teacher or something, it might be a difficult career to go into. If you don't know what you want to do, go to a trade school, focus on a trade. You don't have to love your job. Find something you can tolerate that makes you good money, helps you support your personal life. You can always change that job even when you're 30, especially if it makes a lot of money. Play to your strengths, build wealth. That's what it's okay. Yes. That's not a thing. That's like less like that's not even advice. Play to your strengths and build wealth. Like, yeah, get it. How do you do that? How do you do that? It's like if I said clean your teeth and you were just like, how do you do that? Right? How do you build wealth? Go to school is a good idea, or, you know, try to work on a career path. I would generally recommend a trade. If you know what you want to do, maybe going to college is not a bad idea. If you know what you want to do, if you don't know what you want to do, the first 2 years in college at like a state school or whatever it's called, community college, not a bad idea to get your bullshit out of the way. like your liberal arts degrees. But if you don't know what you want to do after that, maybe enter the labor market, start working, figure yourself out. Resist eating or easing up on your focus. Sure. Okay. This is half this advice is shit. The other half is so vague that it means nothing. I don't know. Okay. Cool. Let's keep going.
High value man. And I know that, you know, Sneako had some point of contention specifically with number 3, which is get a vasectomy in your 20s.
That's stupid.
Can I just ask, why did he need 8 points? Did he like get contracted to write all 8 of these? Because like I see some duplication. So like number 2, avoid family creation. Number 3, vasectomy in your 20s. Couldn't that be like collapsed into 1 point? Did he need 8? Did he feel stupid with like 6 or 7? Or
okay, I mean,
I'm just curious. If there's like a reason.
Clarifying it out. It's just
no. He's not. It's funny because it's just a silly like nitpick, but it's kind of makes sense. Like, why does it need to be 8? Like, you probably could have get this down to like 5. But okay, whatever.
Things. I mean, he could have put them together. I guess
the best person to ask question to is Rollo directly.
That's true.
So we'll do it next week probably.
So, yeah.
But this list is concise because once again, he's just saying in general, faster way to get to that point.
Yeah.
What is high value man?
I think he means what he means in this context is being a guy that's like
not for nothing, but like I feel like starting with I think doesn't make sense to me. Like, shouldn't you guys know what a high value man is at this point? Don't you guys constantly talk about high value men? High value man is somebody who does not die in this dungeon. I'll tell you that much. But shouldn't you guys have Shouldn't you guys have like a down pat at this point? Like what a high value male is? Jesus, oh, this is so bad. I'm actually gonna die. Holy fuck, it's incredible.
Desirable to women and being attractive to women, so that you'll be, I guess, a marketable sexual partner.
Well, but that doesn't make sense, right? Like avoid family creation and get a vasectomy isn't like be attracted to men.
Well, no. It's because
women, right?
again, like I said it before. I'll say it again because you're here. So he gave the instructions to retard proof it, right? Because when you give advice, typically you have to, appeal to the lowest common denominator. So like, there's guys out there, right?
So he's saying that everybody who's listening to his advice is stupid. That's a great way to start. Yeah.
That could have been, I'm being honest here. There's guys out there that, might could have played basketball back in the day, maybe football, whatever, and their career got smashed because they got a girl pregnant and they couldn't pursue what they want to do because they had to be a dad early. True. So what he's saying is, okay, this is how you mitigate risk so you could become a higher status guy. We're going to eliminate all the things that can fuck you up. Now, I want to make this very clear for some of y'all because some of you guys don't understand. I'm not saying I advocate for vasectomies or
the problem with this is that like that general point is fine, right? Like, oh, there are probably some people who maybe should have put off having a family if they wanted to be successful in a particular career path. That's true. But this is vague advice. That is a very specific point of advice for everybody. I would say the majority of people aren't going to fall in a position where if they work, it's going to have a negative impact on their career growth. It's just not. I mean, unless you're a woman, then maybe, because having a baby means you have to put your life on hold for a pretty significant amount of time. But so the problem with this really, like, it doesn't make any sense that would be the correct interpretation. The problem with this really vague advice is that you can have any interpretation that you want. It doesn't make any sense. Sorry, I got distracted by my wife saying something in the chat. The advice, it doesn't make any sense. It's the most positive, charitable interpretation, but it's not the most likely. It's just like a silly thing to say. That can happen, but like most people are like, you're gonna go and you're gonna get a job somewhere, and getting a relationship is not gonna hurt your job. So
whatever. I don't have one. I've never gotten one. But what I am saying is that given the context of what he's tweeting for this specific situation,
there's no context.
It makes sense because he's saying, hey, these are the ways so that you don't fuck yourself up to ensure that you're going to be successful. He's retard proofing it.
But that is a pretty retarded advice because you're saying do this so that you become more attractive to women. So what's even the point of having a relationship with a woman if you can't have kids with her? Then you're just having an empty relationship just to fuck her for your whole life. And
he's saying to become high value, which means you make the choice. Do I want to do that or not? So he's giving you the choice to do that, but once to become high
Myron
value.
just said that it's to become high value to become attractive to a woman.
Yeah, if that's what you choose.
I feel like we're 2 months away from tweets of like, give your bro like the key to your fucking cock chastity cage to make sure that you guys are fucking around without permission or whatever. Like I feel like we're like, don't you guys tweet all the time about how like, oh, like women are fucking disgusting, they're freezing their eggs at like 20 and they're never gonna find out. Now you've got like guys that go to sperm clinics like, here you go, I'm never gonna be able to impregnate my wife because there's like a 30% reversal rate on this fucking surgery, but maybe in the future I can
that low?
want to freeze their eggs
all the time.
Yeah, like it's like the same
but
shit.
Notice, right, he has 2
That's
points.
like a 90% reversal rate.
Yeah, actually.
Well, depending on how quick it is. Wait, for vasectomies?
Yeah, to get it reversed and be able to actually
After like 10 years, it's like 30 to 50%.
Yeah,
in your 20s is 10 years. You're supposed to
if that's true, that's crazy. I guess I wouldn't doubt it, but like, so wait, hold on. If it's, I'm not even gonna like, let's just say it's 50% after 10 years of reversal rate for vasectomy. That kind of defeats their point because I feel like, look, how long are you supposed to have the vasectomy for then? Get a vasectomy. Like, let's say you're 20 years old, you get one at 20. Are you going to reverse it? I would say that you'd probably reverse it at 30 or 35. You might make yourself infertile. This is good advice. If you listen to somebody like Rollo, this is excellent advice because you shouldn't have kids anyway. So this is actually excellent advice, guys.
B-movie and a beer became a member.
Oh shit! Every refresh.
Let's reverse it back within the 10.
Everything refreshed today. All the oh shit.
Tough became a member.
All right, everybody reverse. I'm not going to play all the alerts. Thank you so much for all the renewals on the memberships, though.
Wait, hold on, wait. So you're
20
gonna
to
get
10
a
years.
vasectomy at like, yeah, you're gonna get a vasectomy at 20, become high value by 23, and then get it reversed? Like what?
I mean, I'm gonna say 23. You're being extreme as usual.
Well, he said your 20s. That's 10 years.
Yeah, but you can do it. But when you're 28, 29,
So 9.
I will say there's something weird about this because, like, I obviously going to agree with Sneako and Destiny, but it's, I don't know, it's weird. Like, it was like, what, not even a month ago that Sneako was just babbling like a silly goose, and now all of a sudden he's got everything down pat, and he has the same confidence that he had before. How does he know he's right this time? You know what I mean? Like, what's his filter for being correct? I guess is my question. Is that a weird question? You know, how does he know that he's not just like being a weird contrarian now? Does he believe what he's saying? Or I know it's a weird question. But I'm a little skeptical. Obviously, Sneako's been not great for quite a while, and I think it's reasonable to be skeptical of like these redemption arcs. But like, what's facilitating his moral values now that makes him feel this way? Because it was like a month ago that he felt the opposite. No, it's like what happened? Did he have like a revelation or something? Did he go to Japan and have like some really fresh sushi and go like, oh my god, I've been wrong for however long? Like, what is it that's got him?
10 years. What is it? 45% chance of reversal, bro. You're not gonna have kids anymore.
You're sterilizing half your audience. That's wild to me.
Hold on. Notice he had 2 points there. He said, 1, avoid what? Family creation, and 3, Sesame 20s. You can choose what you want to do. Apply what you need to apply. He's just saying you can do either or.
Okay.
No, he's not.
He's not saying you can do those. He's saying you should do those. Those are very different things. Do you think it's Islam? Well, maybe that's good then. Maybe that's been his revelation and his epiphany. Maybe I'm being too skeptical. I'm still going to be skeptical. I think it's reasonable given the circumstances, but, you know.
These kids aren't going to have any customers you're supposed to, okay?
Here's the thing you guys are confusing it with. He's giving that advice. Those things are to mitigate fuck-ups.
Yeah.
So that you get on your path to becoming higher status. That's to mitigate fuck-ups. It's not about this is so you can have a bunch of kids and have a family. That's not the advice. The advice is this is how you mitigate fuck-ups in your 20s so that you can become attractive. Now, again, like I said before.
Right, but it's going to make you potentially infertile if you stay vasectomized for too long, right? So is this really good advice to tell your audience without like any... Because I guarantee you that this Rollo guy didn't get a vasectomy. So he's giving this advice that he's never taken himself. So what happens if some kid actually takes the advice? Like, all jokes aside, what happens if some kid's like, yeah, I got a vasectomy because Rollo told me. And then Rollo's like, I never did that. Oops. You know, what happens there?
Am I telling guys go out there and get a vasectomy? No. But he's giving
That's what he's saying.
Because if you follow those things, it's going to be very difficult for you to fuck your life up.
Here's a question. On that list, he's got 2 things, okay, about your dick, okay, about avoid family creation, get a vasectomy. Is there anything on that list about, like, just avoid women?
But
avoid temptation?
Hold on. We know as men, we want women no matter what.
If you want to be super charitable, avoiding sedations, maybe, but I wouldn't say that. Because women can be an addiction, bro. Let me tell you. Especially, but that's actually a good point. Like, why not like keep your temptations in your keep it like I don't know. I find it weird that you basically have to neuter a man for because I remember Fresh and Fit talked about this last time, and their perspective was like men can't control themselves around women, and it's like I think that's pathetic, right? Because men can control themselves around women. It's very possible. You can do it, you know. But to tell men that they can't do that, doesn't that not instill a victim complex in those men? Like, oh, you just can't do something. You're just too much of a fucking idiot to control yourself around women. And it's like, wow, that's just pathetic. Like that's I would say that's like it's almost sexist towards men to say. I would say what it would be to say that you're as a man, you don't have the self-control to not like be attracted or not to like constantly like to be hyper obsessed and focused with women. That's like embarrassing, no?
Whether we want to abstain or be more, it doesn't matter. However, question for you guys on the panel: if you had a kid, be honest here, would you be where you're at right now?
Destiny had a kid at his early 20s.
Destiny has
no.
a kid.
Well, oh, you did?
Yeah, he had a kid at his early 20s.
Okay.
He's very successful.
But I mean, no, it was a lot of difficulty, of course, yeah.
But be honest, though. Your kid is amazing, I bet. But at the same time, it did hold you back a little bit.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
Sneako, for you, would you be in the same spot?
It's just such a, no, I don't like the way that they're talking about kids, so I'm just going to be very honest with you. Obviously, kids are stressful to have, and they're going to propose difficulties in your life. And they could potentially make it difficult for you to advance in your job. I'd say this is more for women than men because, again, they have to have babies. But, like, I would like to kind of reframe this a little bit and keep in mind that, like, that's the point of life, no? To perpetuate life. And while your kids might be stressful, the point is to raise those kids to be good. So, like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a kid. Kids are cool. I don't know. I can't wait to have one. I don't know. You know? And also, they can give you, like, a lot of spiritual motivation. Excuse me, I just went out to eat with my wife and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. Oh, so I'm a little, you know. But yeah, they can give you motivation to be a better person. You know, that's also a good thing too. Well,
But honestly,
If I had a kid, at what age are you talking about?
early like 20.
I mean,
No, you wouldn't be. That's the point.
well, not for nothing, but Sneako was pretty successful on YouTube when he was young. So I mean, it's more about money than it is about the kid itself. So
yeah, who knows where I would have been? My life, it would have been a completely different life.
The point is, you might not even be here. I'm just trying to say, he's saying mitigate.
yeah, but what if that's not a bad thing? Like, oh, maybe you wouldn't be a millionaire. Well, but what if Sneako had a kid at 20 and he decided to go back to school and he became like a computer scientist? Because he sounds like maybe he's good at that. I don't know. Like saying he would have less money, does that make him a worse person? Because oftentimes a lot of these people in the manosphere talk about conspiracies and how the government's bad and all the politicians are bad, and it's like, okay, but they're rich. So by your logic of like rich being the number one important factor, they're doing really well. They're good people, right? So like, who cares? Like, you know? But okay.
Get risk and say, you know what? Avoid.
Well, I might not be on the Fresh and Fit podcast right now, but I would have been successful in different realms, and maybe I would have taken a different path.
How do you
Also,
know?
why not just like use protection?
Yeah, see, okay, no,
That's a good point. And he said, avoid what? Family creation, which means use a condom too.
no, it doesn't. It says get a vasectomy. That was the
No,
advice. Stop
that's
trying
number
to,
3.
you're coping,
That's
bro.
number 3. Number 2 says avoid what? Creation.
So is it like this is like the list of 8 things to be successful? Pick 5.
That's the list.
Listen.
This is like a build your own lunchbox at Taco Bell. Like I thought
It's
you'd
the
follow all the points of the
context
list.
of fastest way to be high value, which means, for
Right,
example,
but the point is that they're making is that if those are his rules, then you have to follow all of them to be successful. You can't just pick one of them and go like, oh, I'll do this one. So like him saying avoid family creation, get a vasectomy, it's really saying get a vasectomy if you don't want kids more than anything else. It's not saying don't go around and have like a bunch of sex. He doesn't say that. He says have a vasectomy, make yourself potentially infertile. So cool beans, you know.
mitigate risk. That's all he's saying here.
Hold on. Okay, but
Hey,
here's
mitigate risk by putting yourself at risk for not ever being able to have kids.
the point that I completely disagree with.
I mean,
And
in the context under what he's talking, I
you're
think
taking it-
yeah,
this
this
is
a whole other level.
I'm not.
We're taking it literally.
This
That's
is
a
The word context is just this magical word. Obviously, things can be out of context, but so many people use the word like, "Oh, it's out of context," as just a way to say like, "Oh, no, you're like, I don't have an argument, but you're missing like there is no context to miss here." Like there isn't any context in the actual thing that's good enough. It's shit. Have a vasectomy is not good advice. It's dumb.
Yeah, what you should take it literally if this is the Godfather of the Redpill, right? You guys all give this guy so much credit. I don't really know
He's
much
written
about
like 5 books
The
supposedly. right?
hypocritical part about it is that we make fun of girls all the time for not controlling their sexual urges and being hoes all the time. Like, she belongs to the streets, all this stuff. You tell guys that they're losers if they don't go to the gym. They're losers if they play video games. You're a loser if you smoke weed. You're a loser if you watch sports. You need to exercise discipline. But when it comes to
It's just funny because this is all things that he was saying like last month. So it's wild to me.
girls, oh shit, get a vasectomy because you can't control yourself, because you're not capable of exercising discipline. Why do you have to be disciplined in every single aspect of life? Networking, success, all this stuff, watching sports, playing video games. You need to be on your stuff. But for women, nut inside girls after getting a transgender surgery. That's the one thing you can't be disciplined in.
Sneako,
What?
can you stop fucking girls?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stop the cat.
Hold it to her right now. Don't fuck until you get married.
Well, no.
No.
Better advice. Better advice.
Well, what a stupid argument. Sneako, can you control yourself sexually? Yeah, I can. Then don't ever have sex again until you're married. Why? Why does that need to be? Why does that need to be? Why does that need to be the? Why? Why does that need to be it? Wait, this thing is actually really good. What the fuck? Anyway, why does it need to be that drastic? Hey, Sneako, just get into a relationship with like one girl. Like that's more. Just never have sex again. That's so weird. But okay, cool.
Hey, you can hold it. So don't fuck until you get married.
Better advice is
No.
Stupid
I swear to God.
advice.
What,
Right
you're
now.
saying no.
Are you cool with that? Handshake.
Well, no, wait.
This is
Here's
such
the
a
real
stupid-
question. Here's the real question. Hold on.
Bro, these people are so dumb. Listening to them, what a terrible argument. Like they're just so unintelligent. Like, so don't have sex until you're married because like that. It's weird. It's just a bizarre thing. Like everything's fine in moderation. But, yeah, okay.
Has Sneako fucked a girl before?
Yes.
Has he had a vasectomy?
No.
Does he have any kids?
No.
He's
Then boom, there you go. He's
I know
a
that
He's
actually-
a
plan B. So he would have had a kid, which means he's gonna fuck at some point.
Hey,
We're
listen,
men.
and they still
We're
sell
men.
they still sell Plan B.
No, but the point is,
That is the point. He's able to fuck girls, not have a vasectomy, and still not have kids. It's possible.
What did number 2 say? Avoid family creation. It could be condom or plan B. But he's just saying to be
Yeah, it's
extra
another form
careful.
of contraception is what it is, basically.
But he didn't say
No,
that, and
he
that's
said
not a
vasectomy.
good form of contraception because it's not supposed to be reversed. That's what the doctor tells you when you get a vasectomy surgery. It's like you cannot expect this to be reversed. That's not. You shouldn't go into that thinking that you're going to reverse.
That's
it.
really what they say. I mean, I
And
guess
also, a better advice
makes
instead of
sense.
saying never fuck again. Maybe for the women that I do have sex with, prepare that she could be the mother of your children. Maybe don't spend time.
wear a condom. Wear those. Not for nothing, but that's probably better advice because there are so many men who it's just like it feels good without a condom. Like let's just be real. suck it up, Buttercup. Like, just don't wear the condom. I mean, do wear it. Make sure you wear it, and don't pressure a girl after you've decided to wear it. Because listen, I'm not proud of it, but we've all been there where it's like, oh, I'll use a condom. You put it on, you start going, and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel too good. Can I take this off? And she's like, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, don't put a girl in that position too. Be a little more responsible yourself. It's interesting, like, but in that dynamic, I feel like there's some instances where men kind of put it on the woman to be like the facilitator. It's like, oh, you guys had sex. Like, okay. And then you're like, I don't want to wear the condom, and the girl does, and then when you beg her not to wear it, and she's like, okay, and it's like you're putting it on her. Put it on yourself. Just be like, no, I should wear it. You know. I don't know if I'm expressing my point that well, guys. I'm a little drunk. Give me a break, okay?
With hoes all the time thinking, I need 50 girls so I understand feminists and how retarded they are. Maybe just don't fuck them. Maybe women that you can see yourself having a family with.
Maybe fuck men. Stop using the R word, bro. Fuck, kill me.
When you first, hold on. That's a very good
You
point.
won't be able to detect that, though, unless
Exactly. You need experience.
You need experience,
No,
bro.
you don't.
How do you wait? No. How do you need?
You don't need to have sex with women to understand women. Like, you can just date them too. Like, you don't have to. Well, you can have sex with them. You don't have sex with 50.
Experience. What does that mean?
How would you know what's good for you if you never had it?
The Redpill advice is you need 50 bodies.
I want to open this one up.
Let's go.
Do you think you need to fuck a girl to tell if she's like family material?
No. We're saying experience-wise.
What does experience mean?
No. Dating, courting, having that one-on-one experience. Okay, she likes this. She doesn't like this. This is weird. This doesn't work.
Why 50 women? I don't like. Why not just 10? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Experience. What works?
Wait,
now,
what does any of that have to do with fucking her?
No, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Now, adding in sex, you can understand. Okay, once this point has passed, I can see who she really is. Remember, people put on front at the very
Yeah,
beginning.
but these are the guys who say that they don't care about making women come. So, like, you're not having sex to understand women. You're just doing it because you want to get a quick nut. So nothing you're saying makes sense.
Beginning, but when you have sex with somebody, they're more often likely to show you who they really are.
That is absolutely not true. How many stories do you hear of husbands who are like, my wife used to blow me every single day, and then as soon as we got married, all the sex stopped? Or we have dead bedrooms now. We were super active our first year, but that is absolutely not true. Sex can absolutely change after you've gotten married, and you can tell, regardless of experience, you can tell.
Not just one person. Like, both my wife and I, we don't do as much as we did before. But like, it's not because of her or because of me. Like, we're just grown now, you know. And sometimes we're just busy. We still do it though, but whatever. But like, it's not always the woman. I think that this is like a common misconception. It's always the woman who. If you give your spouse or your partner good sex, like, they're gonna want to have sex with you. Just so you know. And so I think a lot of the men that have problems with like not their wives not wanting to blow them or whatever anymore, that's a skill issue. Satisfy your wife in bed. If your wife doesn't want to satisfy you anymore, you might also be part of the problem. I'm not saying you are, definitely, but like, maybe think about your contribution. Because these are the guys that say that it's too feminine to go down on a girl. Not Destiny or Sneako, but like Fresh and Fed. Like, that's like, maybe that's why they don't want to go down on you. You know, I mean, think about that. And not for nothing, I know that we like to make this, it's like on of like almost a running joke. It's not hard to satisfy women, right? Like, I just need you guys to understand, it's really not. Like, you just have to talk to them. Do you like this? You don't want to be like, do you like this? Are you okay? Or here? But like, hey, do you like it when I do that? Like, listen to them and get better at it. And they'll be like, I do, or I don't. It's not that difficult. And if you're a woman listening to this advice, don't be an asshole. If a guy is trying to ask you questions to get to know you, what satisfies you, don't shame them for not knowing exactly what you want. Like, be a team player, you know, because it's on the woman too a little bit, right? Like, men, you need to be like a little bit more concerned with what you women want, and then women, you need to be more open with men asking you questions without being like, oh, he's too inexperienced, because that can happen sometimes. So
who's a 304? Who's like family material? Without fucking them first. For you guys, you probably tell us by looking at their Instagrams. Isn't that what you guys are like professionals at? Is picking out hoes based on their Instagram pictures? You're telling me you have to fuck through like 30 women to find a good. Like, how many conservative men? Like, if we brought in like real conservative men who have strong families, how many of them like, yeah, you know, I had to fuck 25 bitches when I was in college to find the love of my life right now that can take care of my kids. That's a wild statement. If you want to, that's fine. But don't pretend you're doing it for this fucking altruistic purpose of finding a good mom.
But Destiny, can you admit that when you meet somebody for the first time, right? You're trying to see who they really are, the person, and ultimately you're gonna have sex, right?
No. If you ask me, I think that like sleeping with a person is a good way to get to know them. I wouldn't do it immediately. Well, I would in the past, but I would say you shouldn't do it immediately. But it's different to say like, hey, you might not fully be able to know a person until you sleep with them a couple times. Is different from saying you need to specifically sleep with 50 women. Those are not the same argument. So
I mean,
you don't have to.
But I mean, you know, having sex is like the least important part of seeing what kind of a person they are.
Actually, if you're compatible or not is very important.
If you're compatible, but in terms of like, would this be a good mom?
You don't need to do
Is
it
it
to
like what? If
50
she throws
people.
it back doggy, she'd probably take the kids like out to the park every day. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what? Like, she doesn't swallow. I don't think she'd feed my kid if I didn't make it home in time. Like, what does that mean?
Okay,
like,
so-
she shows up to blow me every night, so I know she'll be on time picking my kid up from school.
So
like, what is the correlation here?
The whole
What?
package itself, right, is going to include sex. I'm just saying the dating process itself, going through the whole motions, you
Why
can see who the
50
person
though?
really is. That's all I'm saying here.
He said he wants to call in and tell us what he actually meant.
That's not what he's. I just need to be clear. It's not what he's saying here. It's one of those things where he has like an outrageous, dumb perspective, sleep with 50 women, and then has to walk it back to. I'm just saying that helps to get to know somebody. Like, yes, it does help to get to know somebody to sleep with them, and sexual compatibility is very helpful, especially in a long-term capacity. But you don't have to sleep with 50 women to know this. That's the whole thing.
I guess. Here's a novel idea. How about you tell me? Let me call it to tell you what I actually meant.
You know what? Let's do it, bro.
Let's go ahead and bring Rollo Tomassi on. Shout out to Rollo. Shout out to you.
Whoa.
Can you hear me okay?
What up, man?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
Why is this guy the godfather of the red pill? I feel like Drix is a better godfather of the red pill because he literally is a red pill. It's Drix from Ozzy and Drix. This is the real godfather of the red pill, guys. I loved Drix. He's a good guy. Seems like a real family man. Who is Rollo Tomassi? What is cloaked official music video? What? Is this the right Rollo Tomassi? What? This is not the guy. Is this him? I'm so confused.
So let me explain a few things here. I wasn't able to do this the last time you guys were talking about this, but so about gosh, is it now 2 weeks ago? I think it was Tuesday of last week. You guys had Brandon Carter on. Is that with Derek Moneyberg? Or was that Monday?
Monday.
Monday. Sorry, let me get my camera back up there. So Monday, you guys were talking to Brandon Carter. One of the things that Brandon was talking about was you got to love money. You got to be on top of your game. And and I love Brandon Carter, by the way. I think he should be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy is that funny. He's a great guy,
Yeah,
right?
let's turn you down.
But when you guys are on that show and you're talking to him, and he's talking about how he doesn't go to he doesn't go to Publix, doesn't go grocery shopping for himself. He doesn't go do his own laundry.
Why?
He doesn't have a car.
That's pathetic.
Right? But he doesn't have like some basic stuff because his philosophy in life is that anything that takes him away from his grind, anything that takes him away from anything that would distract him or that would be financially or mathematically not a pragmatic choice for him to make, as far as like if he's spending time going grocery shopping or going and getting food for himself or whatever else. I'm sure he's getting a meal prep and everything else, but pretty much everything in his life is outsourced, because anything that he would be spending that time himself to go do, he could be losing money doing that at that time.
I don't know how to. Okay, I mean, if you have a wife or somebody who'll do it for you, whatever. Okay, listen, I'm gonna give you some real advice. Maybe these people are super freaks, but frankly, I don't think they're as work obsessed as they pretend to be. You need time to not work. It's a thing. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't work hard, right? But like, let's say you're a guy, you're a guy, you're a girl, you're a person, and you're working 10-hour days. That's a lot of work. Take a day off. Sometimes doing nothing is the best way to accomplish something, because you will burn out. If you do too much, if you go over your working capacity, you're going to burn out. Everybody has a specific amount of work capacity. And if you're already going to the gym and you're working a lot, like, you need time to just relax. Like, working out, getting bigger and stronger is not half the battle. Is working out. You want to know what the other half of the battle is? Doing nothing. It's recovery. You need to relax. This advice is silly. You should move with a purpose and be time efficient. But you can do things that aren't completely passed over to money. What does he do that he's always moving? I just doubt it. Like, okay, whatever.
So when I was listening to this and I was thinking about this myself, because I was actually at the same time, I'm like, helping a friend move and all this. And I'm thinking about this. And I'm going, you know what? If you want to be a high value man, if you want to get to that apex level as fast as you can, that's it. How is that not the best way to go about it?
I mean, it's just impractical. If let's say you're a high value male, it means that you don't have a woman. If you don't have the money because you're not the high value male yet, how are you going to eat if you don't go to the grocery store or cook your food? You have to do things that you would not consider conducive. Like, are you just not showering either? Like, I don't need a shower. I'm a high value male. That's a distraction from making money. I don't need to eat. I don't need to go grocery shopping. I don't need to brush my teeth. I don't need to clean my clothes. Not for nothing, but living in a disgusting, dirty atmosphere is bad for your mental health, and it will make you fail as a person. So, like, actually cleaning your room and doing your laundry and showering and being in clean clothes makes you feel good about yourself. So,
okay. So the point,
he's married over 26 years. Okay, God bless him, I guess. But this device is dog shit.
of that whole tweet, which was basically a throwaway tweet that everyone started like snowballing into something else. I've got Ben Shapiro coming at me.
Does he blow? Oh, excuse me. Does he love his wife? Sorry. Does he love his wife? A real question. Don't you dare. This motherfucker's taking my tree.
I got Matt Walsh coming at me. I got Lauren Chen coming at me. I got all these people off of Daily Wire because it was just easy, low-hanging fruit for these guys because they think that that's what the fucking manosphere is all about, and it's not.
What is he talking about?
Okay, that was not fucking advice. Everything that is on Twitter is not advice. Okay,
Was that a joke?
no, it was not to say
Oh, they were shitting on him for his shit advice on Twitter. That's advice. That's what you're advocating for that. What do you mean? He got shit on by Ben Shapiro. Matt Walsh is a shit person, but Ben Shapiro. I mean, bro, listen. It sounds like you got owned with facts and logic here, okay? That's what it sounds like.
joke, but it's like, let's just say it's a hypothetical, okay? It's showing you. Now, for just 5 seconds, okay?
It's a hypothetical. You're giving active advice. What? Hypothetical? What does it even mean? What do words mean to this guy?
Joke here, because everything that's come out of both of you guys' mouth has been nothing but distraction and misdirection because it's easy clicks for you. So here's the whole thing. When I'm talking,
I mean, my man, it's just they read what you had to say, and it was a silly goosery. This guy wants me to attack him, but I'm not going to get baited by this stinky butt. Bro, like, it's just your advice.
About get a vasectomy, or don't be concerned with.
When he's mad, his glasses get uneven on his nose. You see?
Oh my god! Listen, we all get worked up, but something that you guys have to understand is if you get worked up, especially this quickly, like this guy Rollo is, people are gonna make fun of you, dude. Like you're like going crazy. You like this just started, and you're already going ballistic, and you're having a meltdown. Like, of course they're gonna make fun of you because now all they have to do is make a silly little snide comment, and you start to melt down. You're just like, stop laughing. You fucking like all this other stuff. You chill out. And what's this guy's podcast called? I mean, they're saying that he fell off. Like maybe part of it's because you're not a very emotionally tempered man. You know, it can be very hard, I think, as a man to be emotionally tempered. You know, I'm a man that has I can have some anger problems sometimes. I'm not proud of it. It's not a good quality of a man. You know, that's emotional outburst. That's emotional lack of regulation. Like that's not a good thing. You need to take a deep breath sometimes, man. Like you need to be able to take it on the chin sometimes and listen and, you know, take that breath. It's important, you know. And part of that is relaxing, taking a shower and doing the dishes. Those are very cathartic things to do.
Shall we keep going? Are we just gonna have jokes thrown in here? Is that what I get to? Is that what I get to do it? Okay, so here's the deal. When I'm talking about this, when I'm throwing this out there, why wouldn't you do that? Would you not have been more successful, Sneako, had you not had to go through certain things? If you had a kid, right now,
you know what's so funny? Can I just tell you the funniest thing about this is that's so stupid. One of the manosphere arguments is that like strong men make like a weak society, and then weak society breeds weak men, and then weak men create like conflict, which means that like strong men are born through conflict, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm saying it off the dome, right? But you understand what I'm saying fundamentally, right? What's interesting is that in this case, that is something that people in the manosphere always say. They say that men are weak now because life is too easy, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You need another war, whatever silly thing that they say. Then they'll say, don't have a kid because it's too hard and makes it more difficult to be successful. Well, which one is it? Do you struggle through adversity and become a better man with better character? Or do you get, or what? Or do you avoid difficult situations? I don't know which one it is. It just seems like a little silly. A little silly goosery. Just saying, man, be consistent, you know?
You would be playing the game with a handicap. You would be playing the game with your fucking hands tied behind your back. Okay, so there are guys right now who I have a lot of respect for, and I'm sure you have a lot of respect for as well, who all have kids, but you know what they try to do? They try to keep it under wraps. Okay, so nobody knows about the kids. Okay.
Well, that's pathetic. You're a loser if you have kids and you try to keep it under wraps. What does that say to the kid? The kid's gonna grow up upset. You're hiding your child. I can't wait to have a kid. I'm of course going to brag about it. It's not even like a braggable moment. Like everybody has kids, right? It's going to be incredible. Like I'm excited for it. It's going to be hard. That's part of it. But there's rewarding nature through difficulty. I mean, I don't know, man. Okay.
What is advice?
So here's okay. First off, this is not advice. Everything that is on my show or is on Twitter is not automatically advice. Now,
what does it mean?
Here's the thing.
What's the point of saying it then? Maybe that's why people don't watch it. I don't know. I mean, people probably don't watch me because I suck, but I don't understand. Like, what? I find that to be weak. Like, listen, everybody will give you bad advice at some point. Every content creator will say some dumb shit. There's probably things I've said that is shit advice. Maybe it's good advice because there's something behind what I'm saying that like makes sense and would make sense if I communicated that, but I just couldn't communicate that. And if I'm being generous, maybe he's in the same boat. But you can't give people advice and then when you get criticism on it, go, no, you're wrong. What if you just said, hey, I fucked up. I'm wrong. And you just took the L. Instead you're just deflecting. You're being a boy. You're a little child, a little piss baby, you know?
Say, because here's the deal. When I was on whatever podcast I was telling this, I was saying exactly the same thing here, is that everything that comes out of somebody's mouth on Instagram or on Twitter or on a YouTube, there's no way you can't go on there without somebody going, this is what these guys are saying to do. Because if you have this set automatically, that if it comes out of your mouth, it's automatically advice. It can't just be data. It can't just be.
Well, why else does it come out of your mouth, though? What's the point of it, right? Like, that's my question. What else do you mean?
Statistics. It can't be. Nothing can be just delivered. Sort of like, here's some data for you to look at. Okay. Nothing can be set.
What data
given to you without somebody going, well, the reason why you're telling me this is because you're telling me that this is the best way to live my life. Okay. So when I'm watching Brendan Carter and I'm watching all this going on, I'm looking at like guys that I know and guys that you know as well. And when these are the guys who are like saying, you know, be on your game, do this, do that. They're the ones that are giving this advice. Okay. All I'm doing is saying, hey, look, maybe you should not focus on family. Maybe you should not get married. I mean, I don't know why that's big.
Maybe advice.
I'm not saying
that's not the advice you're saying. If you said, hey, maybe do these things, I still would say like it's good to try to find a partner. You don't have to actively do it. But like that's fine. You're saying get vasectomies so that you can't have babies instead of saying like, hey, wear a condom. I don't know.
I'm not saying it's advice. What I'm saying is that this is over the fucking top that everybody wants to take it out of context, which is exactly what you guys have been doing.
So what is it? Can you tell me what that tweet was if it wasn't advice?
It's not advice. What it is it's saying that this is the most extreme way to do things. Okay, here's the quickest path to. If I told you this, look, if I said
he's saying it's advice. He's saying it's advice if you want to take the quickest path to being a high value male.
The quickest way for you to make $1 million.
That sounds like advice.
Is to go steal it from the bank or go to steal it. Does that mean I'm telling you to go steal it?
Yes. If you say the quickest way to, I mean, like, what's the context? If I said the quickest way to get $1 million is to rob a bank, you'd probably assume I'm being facetious, right? Because that's preposterous. Because even if you were able to steal it, you probably wouldn't get away and whatnot, you know. But this isn't that extreme. This is, I think that you literally just said it. Like, you believe this. This is what you believe is the best way to go. Okay, whatever.
If I tell you to go fucking jump off a cliff, are you going to go jump off a cliff?
Right.
I mean, will it make me a high value male? I don't know.
Wait, by the way, here's the other thing is I'm also responding to Dr. Richard Reeves in this as well.
Okay, there's a lot of context about it, sure. But
well, what did Dr. Richard Reeves say? Debating marriage and fatherhood a lot with thoughtful conservatives. One of my key points is that married parents plan to become parents together, which I think most people would agree makes all difference for stability rates. I don't know why this would be the advice to this person.
All the rest of the list, you're equating vasectomy to lifting, game, play to your strength, resisting up on easing your focus. The rest of it sounds like general advice.
Okay, well let's say so. So let me ask you. So is it the vasectomy part that's throwing you off?
Really genuine good advice, right? The rest of it.
So is it the vasectomy part?
Yeah, it's a pretty big part.
Yeah, do you agree with
the vasectomy part? Is probably the worst one. And avoid family creation. Don't get married, I guess. I don't know.
Pretty much everything else except for the vasectomy part.
The first three is weird because then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family? Why be that rich? The guy who's always grinding. Whoa, Brandon Carter doesn't have to do his laundry. Sick. What else are you going to do with your life?
Right. Maybe this is actually meant so that you'll get it. You'll have a freaking epiphany about how all the shit that you have to sacrifice to get to that in the first place. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to live the kind of life, let's say, like a Brandon Carter is, where you're going to outsource your entire life, or are you going to actually have? Is that something that's a priority for you?
But like, what's the priority? Is just purely money. It sounds miserable. There's the equation of emotion here that's so lacking, man. Like, it feels good to be with somebody that like loves you and cares about you. It's hard, but like, it's awesome. Like, I don't know how else to say it. You should try to find that. And if you don't try to find that in your 20s, that's your entire developmental cycle. So if you're not I'm not saying go and find the one you love by 25. But you should be dating. You don't have to actively do it. You don't have to make it number 1 priority. But you should date with the intention to potentially be in a relationship. It doesn't mean you have to settle with that person, but be open to finding somebody that you would be with in a long-term capacity. You just don't have to force it. That's how you learn to deal with different people, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're just putting everything on hold and not even trying to do that, you're going to be emotionally stunted by the time you're 30. Because, like, what did you do your entire developmental cycle? You tried to have sex and do nothing with people. You're gonna not be able to communicate. Or have like any type of emotional anything.
And I'll tell you right now that if you follow this kind, if you were to follow this list right here, that is the fastest way for you to get to a point where you are more high value.
Oh yeah. Just give me like a statistic for all of that. Give me the correlation between vasectomies and being high value. I don't know. What is high value?
Right. So here's the thing. So when I say that, people go, "Well, that's not what a high value man is."
What is it?
High value man is what I define it as. Which
what is it?
He's got to have a good, loving, devoted wife. He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about.
I say that a man with high value is somebody who respected and took care of him and himself and his family. You don't have to have a certain number of kids. You don't even have to get married necessarily. I think it's a good idea, but like, okay, have respect for yourself, your community, your family. Yeah. Okay.
About all this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is.
What do you think it is?
So what I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this
is a high value man
way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something.
That's advice, yeah.
For 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
But it does matter. Like, that's like saying, here's a recipe. It'll make. Well, let me see if I get this analogy correctly. I don't know. Here's your recipe to make like fucking pickle soup, and there's no pickles in it. You know what I mean? Like, what is pickle soup? I don't know. What is it? You have to tell us what the goal is here. Well, how do I know I like it?
That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So what is that?
What's a high value man?
Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your tweet.
Why is he hypocrite?
It doesn't matter what I say is a high value man because everybody takes this. The point of the tweet is that everybody's going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a high value man is.
That doesn't make any sense. What? This guy's a pussy. Just own what you're saying. What's a high value male to you? What the fuck? What the hell? Oh, I can't hold any more names.
That's the bait. 12 kids when you're 16. Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it doesn't. High value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay,
not really.
What I'm saying.
My point is that high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man. Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is
what is that?
Okay? So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go.
Oh my god, this guy really just won't do it.
One by one. You want to go one by one? Okay,
no, so I'm gonna go before 1 by 1. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your definition
is. The very fact that you're even asking this in the first place is the actual point of the fucking tweet. Okay, so if you,
bro, this guy, there's no way this is a real person. What's going on, table? How you doing? This person has to be like a government, like a plant into the manosphere to like break it down from the inside, right?
If you're going to be a high value man with the fucking hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point of the fucking tweet.
You guys, the tweet was, you've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it. And now you're getting blown the fuck up on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is fucking retarded. But you're too stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation.
I'm not too stubborn to walk back from it because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are idiots. Why do you guys come in here from Twitch stream? Like, how you guys are legitimate in all of this? I don't know, because everything I've heard come out of you guys' mouth is just confident ignorance.
I'm asking no, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the Godfather of the Redpill. You
call myself the Godfather of the Manosphere. Okay, other people have called me that.
Okay, great. That's very.
Do you understand?
Okay, so
Godfather or grandfather of the man? Which one is it?
Whatever it is, the old guy of the Manosphere. What is your definition of high value man? This is the #1 talked about topic on all of these shows. So I want to get a clear definition from you. What is it?
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. It depends on the. So here's the thing. Let me tell, maybe I can explain this to you.
You can't give specific advice if you're not gonna like. You have no endpoint. Like this guy is embarrassing, man. Like he really owned himself with his stupid tweet, and now he just can't. Just take the L. You know. You can't even define what a high value male is. This is insane. Why do people listen to this guy?
Sneako, because at least you got your ears open here. The thing is that when we're talking about what's the top G, what's a high value guy, you probably haven't heard this because you don't read my stuff and you don't watch my shit. But I've also said this is like the red pill has to be for everybody or it's for nobody. So if we're looking at a guy who's draped across a Lamborghini and he's got hot chicks with him and we say that's what I'm aspiring to, but I'll never make that because I live in a fishing village on the coast of Chile, right? That means I can never match that high apex of a high value guy.
The guy in the car?
But the guy who happens to live in those villages or happens to be in a different culture or in a different country or whatever else, he can still benefit from that because however he's defining himself as a high value man in his fishing village, maybe that's what he can aspire to.
It has nothing to do with Chile and the village in the car.
See, here's the thing: is you guys want me to say, okay, a high value man makes $100,000 a year. He's fucked 50 chicks. He's got like that's the thing.
That's not what I want you to say. I disagree with that. I'm asking you because I come on this all the time.
Disagree with it. What I'm saying is the point of the tweet is so you'll ask that question.
I'm past the tweet. I'm past that. Look, I'm asking as somebody who's really interested in the red pill. I listen to a lot of this content. I want to know what your definition is because if you have a definition that's completely off of what I think it is, then I guess I'm not red pill.
Well, here's what I think guys ought to do.
Red pill is for everybody unless you respect women. Then it's not for you.
Would you like me to give you some prescriptions? Is that what we're trying for here?
No, I want to know your opinion of a high value man. What is it?
I think a high value man is whatever is contextually makes that guy a high value guy in whatever culture that he happens to be in. If that
this guy's a coward, bro. Come on.
It's money. That's money. Right now, that's what we tend to focus on right now. But if I'm going to say that,
value man is a guy that has the things that makes him a high value man.
All right,
the things that make you a high value man. Okay, what is that?
Wow, Myron's got his hood up. This is embarrassing for him. All of his best friends are fighting.
That we've been trying to. We're never going to define it.
We just kind of because here's the thing. When I read the tweet, I interpreted it right with a higher step. Like he's listing things that if you follow these things, right, and you actually follow them, you're probably not going to become a right. And to be a high value guy, I would say it's a combination of things. It's obviously having your money on point, having social proof and status, having respect from your peers, having a network of other high value men, right, which I agree with Kevin Samuels on that. Being fit to a degree. If you have all these things in place, you'll be considered a high value man by most people in most societies, right? If you
have a vasectomy, don't care about people.
Right, you obviously have to focus and get your shit together and make sure that you focus on getting there. What he's saying is all these the list of things that he mentioned, if you follow them, it's going to mitigate your risk of becoming a fuck up and not getting to that point as quickly as possible. And I think that's so important is that this tweet kind of gets taken out of context. He's saying the quickest way to become a high value man, avoid and do these things because you're limiting distractions. And he's using Brendan Carter as an example where he's in a monogamous relationship with a girl. He outsourced a lot of his things. Why?
It's so sad that even Myron understands that this guy is as Rollo's lost. Like you could tell by the way Myron's talking. He's just running defense. He knows his friend is wrong, but he feels bad for his friend. Sad stuff. So
he's able to focus on making more money. He's getting rid of obstacles, and I think that tweet demonstrates that. He's getting rid of obstacles, so you can become a high value man in the quickest possible way. Now, I know the most controversial one is the vasectomy. Though there's other ways to get the same, I guess, effect from vasectomy. Let's say you use a condom. Let's say you pull out, whatever it may be. He's saying, okay, if you get the vasectomy, then we know for a fact you're not going to have children. It's really no different than having a condom or pulling out or whatever it may be. The point is to not get a girl pregnant. How you want to get there is up to you, whether it's through
a condom's reversible, right? So
using condoms, whatever. But he's making it retard proof. Hey, vasectomy, because I know even if you are the dumbest guy ever, you can't fuck this up.
I don't think a retarded guy should be a high value guy.
No, when I say retarded, I mean as in stupid. But what I'm saying is that the point I'm trying to make is this.
Did Sneako just like weirdly advocate for people with disabilities? You guys know I don't like the R slur, but did Sneako just like advocate? Wait, that was really weird. Hold on.
Should be a high value guy.
Hey, vasectomy, because I know even if you are the dumbest guy ever, you can't fuck this up.
I don't think a retarded guy should be a high value guy.
What did he say? He said it can't be or they can be. Wait, what happened here?
Because I know even if you are the dumbest guy ever, you can't fuck this up.
I don't think a retarded guy should be a high value guy.
No, when I say retarded, I mean as in stupid. But what I'm
oh, maybe he did the opposite. Did he just say that like a person with disabilities can't be high value? Wait, what's happening here? Or did he just say something? They're all just saying dumb shit. Okay.
Thing is that the point I'm trying to make is this list is the foolproof way, if everything is followed, for you to get your status up as quickly as possible in your 20s.
That's not what the list is, though. Because what you just said was advice, and he said it's clearly not advice. So you're entering a different way.
He's joking, and
he was just joking. Like half of it was just for jokes.
But I'm telling you, I
saw yeah. I forgot. Well, I mean, they're all saying like literal bigot, like slurs. It's weird that Destiny is weirdly okay with. I mean, I have no expectation from a bunch of unintelligent people, but you think Destiny would be a little bit more intelligent when it comes to ableism or whatever. But okay, whatever.
I'm telling you guys how I interpreted that.
Yeah,
right.
He's not wrong.
So that people can interpret it how they want. Exactly. They create discussion. That's the point.
And it's funny.
That's what he's saying.
He asked a question earlier. So you asked him a question. What is high value? You answered it. It's whatever you determine that to be.
No, that's bullshit. None of you guys believe that. If some guy comes on this show, he weighs 350 pounds, and he's I'm Diamond 1 in League of Legends. That's what I want to do with my life. Would you go, well, that's what you really want. You're high value. You wouldn't say that.
No, but once again, it starts in the mind. You're going to say, for example, oh, that's not true, which I agree is not true.
Hey. I am a Diamond 1, and I do weigh 350. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't. I weigh 349 pounds, and I'm bronze.
You as a man decide what's high value for you.
I actually hit gold 4. Okay, so
Yes, you do.
jungle.
Value is probably something that's determined by society. High value means that you have a worth to other people. You're just talking about being comfortable, having high self-esteem.
I agree, but the tweet.
Don't say you agree, man. I just said the total opposite.
No. I agree. And a point where, for example, people determine you as high value. However, the tweet saying high value could mean, in your sense, whatever that means to you.
No, it doesn't.
What?
That's what he's saying.
No, he's not. He doesn't know because he doesn't have a good definition. Because he knows if he says anything, he's gonna get
You
pinned
sound
down
like
on
the
it.
girls who believe they're a 10 because they describe themselves as a 10 in the mirror.
If you brought in
That's the
some
same
loser,
reason.
the point.
and he's like, I'm high value because I'm a manager at my
I'm trying to because it always bothers. We actually had a really nice conversation with my wife today on stream on our podcast. Go check it out. And in that, we talked about how there's something that I do. She didn't frame it as a problem, but it can be problematic. Is that I have a pretty strong moral code and like moral sense of like who I am and what I believe in. And sometimes when other people don't align with that, especially if it's something that I believe very heavily in, I get very turned off to that person. And we were actually talking about a very interesting situation that was part of the podcast where it was this guy who was married to this woman, and then she had a horrible accident, like where she got a traumatic brain injury. I think that's what like something happened where I think it was a traumatic brain injury. He never explicitly said it TBI, but that's what it seemed to be. And he was making a video about how he was divorcing his wife because he's just her caretaker and it's too much work and all this other stuff. And I watched that, and there was the addition to the problem was that like he made us a TikTok about it that was like sad music, like, oh, he's the victim, it was just really shitty. And I was like very frustrated and angry with that because I'm like, what kind of a loser person you're gonna leave your wife who needs you the most. And I know it's hard, but the worst is that he played victim. He didn't like do that quietly. Like, you don't need to go online and try to make a video edited. He literally sat in the rain, like with the camera and like a soft filter over it. He's trying to evoke an emotional response to make him the victim, even though his wife has a TBI and her husband is leaving her. But it makes me so like angry, and like that's what's happening here. I think with like the R slur, because you guys know it really bothers me. Like, it is a bigoted word, and it really upsets me because I feel very strongly about this. It's something I talk about a lot, and my wife works with people with people in the IDD community, and it bothers me, and it's like really turning me off to specifically Destiny, like really. And I'm trying to not, because I understand that from a societal perspective, the R slur isn't considered as bad as any other word, but it still like bothers me, and that's why I keep like stopping, getting like so frustrated. But I also understand that I have like I get very worked up over things I believe in, but at the same time, it's like, damn, I was like, oh my God, like it's hard to help it. It just frustrates me, because I know a lot of good people in the ID community, and they're really good people, and like it's just a word that tears them apart. So it's frustrating. I'm trying not to go on about it, but it's just like, damn, like it's just like, oh my God, what a frustrating experience, And
McDonald's, you probably wouldn't agree that he's high value.
Is that when he says high value, you're going to determine that as a man. What does that mean for you? Success is a part of it, yes, but there's
high value is not going to the gym.
Business. It doesn't matter. He's saying to get to that point, you need focus. Ultimately, that's
the problem is that you can't make the argument that it's super ambiguous about like the interpretation, because he gives specific advice like go to the gym. So if my definition of a high value man is to not go to the gym, which it's not, because I have been going with my wife and whatnot. By that logic, like, you should support that by what you're saying now, but the tweet itself gives some specific parameters, and one of those parameters was to get a vasectomy.
That's what he's saying. Just be focused.
Look, we make fun of the girls all the time for saying that they're 10 out of 10s. All the time, because they say it in their head, I believe I'm a 10 out of 10. No, that's ridiculous, because society determines how attractive you are. Society determines how valuable you are. You can't apply that logic. You can't make fun of the girl, the ugly fat whale who thinks she's a 10 girl boss queen, and then also say a high value man can believe it in his head.
Well, I gave you guys a 10.
You have a good definition. You talked about some shit, being relatively fit, having a network of people that are very social. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like
I do, because here's the thing. For me, I will define it because that will allow you guys to see where I'm coming from when I'm interpreting the
information. We know where you're coming from, but we have the tweet out there. He doesn't know where he's coming from. He seems a little lost right now,
mean,
so we're trying to figure out, what exactly he means. But
I think, again,
the appeal to Myron so that the audience thinks that Destiny is a reasonable guy, specifically the Manosphere audience. Very good work.
The tweet, I think that's the important part of the tweet, is that it allows people to interpret how they want, which is why we're talking about it right now. The tweet did
I'm giving advice to people. I don't want them to interpret it how they want. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point of my message? If
I'm not giving advice to people. That's the whole.
So, like, what is your podcast about then? Like, what do you do? Do you have robust discussions about how birds are actually dinosaurs? Because I saw an emu at the ecology center with my wife, and it walks like a velociraptor from Jurassic Park, and I'm scared of chickens, and and dinosaurs were birds at one point, which is why it's okay to kill and eat birds, because they used to eat us when we were monkeys. Another thing that I talked about on my podcast. It's just ridiculous conversation that we have.
The whole point of this. Do you want? It's impossible to put anything out there without people interpreting it as follow these steps. Here's your 12 rules for life, and you're going to live a happy
rules for being a high value man. That's literally what your tweet was. Do these things. High value. What's the wording of the tweet? Go back to the tweet itself.
So here's in that wording of the tweet. What's the last part of that? What's the last one? Resist easing up on your focus. Whatever's like. Would you want me to insert what you ought to be doing? You ought to be coding. Is that what I should say?
Yeah, but when you say resist easing up on your focus, even though it's really ambiguous or it's very shallow advice, that general interpretation was to keep doing the good things. Or don't get lazy, I guess, kind of like that, right? If like you're in school to get your master's degree in whatever, teaching, I don't know, don't not do it, right? Make sure you stay studying. Don't ease up on your focus. That's advice is not bad. It's not really good either. Only it's not bad advice. It's just like it's so vague and like uninspiring and like boring, you know. But that you could pull something from that. But yeah, emus are fucking horrific. But this is silly. Right, but saying don't get a vasectomy.
You ought to be becoming a professional athlete. I don't know what your fucking strengths are.
You can simplify, say work hard.
Again, if here's the thing. If I say, you know what, you ought to be an NBA player, and it doesn't matter if that you're 5'9", fucking stay on your focus, and you're going to be the best NBA player you can possibly be.
No, that'd be terrible advice.
That would be absolutely terrible advice, because this is advice. That's why. Okay, this is a list that is meant to get so you get an idea of what the fuck it is that you're going to do, so that you can become that high value man. Protect yourself. Don't get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy. Again, this is over the top shit.
Not for nothing. Listen. I am obviously the smartest person in the entire world, but there are moments where I have bad takes myself. And what helps me have fewer is the advice from Ben Shapiro, which is have somebody or some people in your life that gives you good advice that can help you cut through the bullshit. Because when you make content and stuff, one of the struggles is that you work part-time for a full-time site. No, one of the struggles, because when I say struggle, like obviously being content creator is easier than anything else, but it is you get so much backlash and criticism for stuff when you make a point, whether it's good or bad, you're going to get criticism. And sometimes it can be hard to cut through that criticism. And it's good to have somebody. For me, it's my wife. For him, it's whoever. I'm assuming he has nobody to talk to. Because if I said something like this was that stupid, my wife would be like, yeah, you're dumb. This was kind of dumb. She would be nicer about it, of course. This is kind of silly. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And you take it in stride and you're just like, okay. Like when my wife gives me constructive criticism, I feel good about it because I'm able to like, okay, move forward better, you know? And I would just kind of move on.
Anybody who knows anything about my material, when I throw this out there, they know this is over the top shit.
What else on that?
Needs a fucking fire for douche nozzles like
douche
nozzles.
I don't want to be a douche nozzle, but what else?
Yeah, besides number 3, what else here is over the top?
Besides vasectomy.
Well, live consistently, okay? Well, what if like some people will say, well, that's vanity, right?
There's no way you agree with that. Saying live consistently.
Hold on. For Rollo, it might be. Okay, to be fair. Okay?
Guys, see, here's the thing.
But you're missing, like, are you not hearing anything he's saying? Like, do you need to blindly agree with him? Because nothing he's saying is making any sense.
Bro, it's not making any sense to you because you don't understand the concept of the tweet. That's why.
Because your tweet sucks.
Thoroughly understand what I.
Oh, what's going on, Magic Oddity? How you doing, brother?
Okay, let me hold up here.
Talk about EDT saying protect the children and how he's got banned for dating it. Okay, I mean, why? What's to talk about? Like,
did you understand what I was saying about Brandon Carter?
Yeah, he doesn't do his laundry.
No, but he's taken everything to this extreme level. Like to a lot of guys, Brandon Carter. Okay, would you?
I don't do my laundry either, though. My wife does it, but I do help. Usually, she'll put it in the wash, and she says. She writes me a list every day of chores to do, and then I will do some of them. You know, it depends on the day. And like sometimes it's like put them in the dryer. You know what I mean? For me, sometimes it's easier to have my wife she handles certain things and I handle other things. She's just like, you know, I don't really want to think about cleaning the house. She'll say something like, "Oh, the house is so dirty. We need to clean it." And I'll just like, "What does that mean to you?" I don't know. We need to vacuum the couch. Great, I could vacuum the couch, right? But just clean the house. It means nothing to me. Not that I'm a dirty guy, but frankly, sometimes men can be disgusting. You ever know the meme of a guy, if left to his own devices, will have like a fucking, will literally just have like a mattress on the floor in the middle of a room with a TV on it and like they call it a day. That's me. You know? So it helps to have my wife just be like, she wrote on the list, she's like, vacuum the couch, vacuum the kitchen floor, vacuum this floor, do this, clean the toilet, do that. I can do those things. Right? Because I know what those mean. I know. I needed words. I need better words. Be more specific. It works out really well. I enjoy the writing the list thing. It's interesting because my wife used to write lists, and she like back in the day on stuff, and it's like a weird thing her mother does too, and it can come off as condescending when you first. Bro, why are you attacking me? It comes off as condescending when you first do it, you know, because like who writes a list of things to do? It comes off like you're an idiot. Now I love the list. I remember I used to be like, I don't like the list. It makes me feel like you're being kind. And now I'm just like, please write the list. Like I just need it. You know, and I'll tell her to write things on the list that I need to do. Like I gotta go get my medication from like fucking Rite Aid or whatever. And I'll be like, can you just write that on the list for me? Because it's just easy now. It's like a brainless. My wife's coddling me. It's terrible. She's like a younger mommy, guys.
You agree with me that Brandon Carter is a high value guy? Sure. Okay. You know who wouldn't? Ben Shapiro. You know who wouldn't? A lot of other people because they think that they're living out their own high value ideal.
Shapiro.
Do you understand that?
Context.
Like the 350.
Right, but I think that this guy here, Brandon, whatever his name is, would be able to give you a definition of what he thinks it means to be a high value man, and so could Ben Shapiro. But you're not giving that definition.
Count esports player is living out his ideal of a high value man.
Yeah, whether or not that's working for him is irrelevant to the tweet. When I say, okay, when I'm talking about Brandon Carter, you say you understand that. He's taking it to like this extreme level.
How is Ben Shapiro not a high value guy?
Like stay on top of it. Like for Brandon, what do you think Brandon Carter's definition of a high value man is?
Probably the same as mine.
Which is
determined by society. If you have respect from your community, then you are a high value person. If people respect you.
All right,
so being pro-social and having people like you, and depending on
I know you don't agree with him because he's Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is definitely a high value man.
Okay, but so
yeah,
okay,
sure.
so let's just say let's say
he does. He said so.
You don't think Ben Shapiro is a high value man?
Let's take for. Do I think he is? I don't think he's a high value man.
Wait,
now doesn't make any sense. He owns his own business. He's like one of the most successful alt media platforms in the world. He's married to fucking young sweetheart.
Right. You know who else is not a high value guy? Elon Musk. Let's see. Who else? Jeff Bezos. All you got to do is just go.
Listen, this guy needs to learn. You have to pander to your conservative audience. You know, you have to play the game. You have to pretend that you think. I don't have to care because I don't like anybody and I want to be isolated. I don't really want to network on the internet. Maybe that makes me a low value male, but for me, I don't want to become terminally online. And you could see in almost every friendship in the entire world that these people become terminally online. I don't want online networking. I want to kind of be myself and do my thing. Offline's different. But you need to pretend that you think that Ben Shapiro is a good person if you want to be in the manosphere. Because Ben Shapiro, like the same way where he won't criticize Andrew Tate really, because he knows that there's a lot of audience overlap, you need to play the game. You need to shit yourself and go like, oh yeah, you know, it's part of the game, man. You got to do that. So, you know, you see even Myron does it. You see him when he criticized Ben Shapiro, he's like, actually, and he's very respectful about it.
All you have to do is look at the decisions they've made in their personal lives. Okay, how are we going to define that? If I'm going to define that,
you haven't. You're the only one who hasn't defined it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one defining it for fucking Jeff Bezos. I'm not the one defining it for fucking what's his face.
Yeah, but you just said Ben Shapiro isn't a high value man, which means that you're saying you have a definition of what it means to be a high value man. So tell us your definition of what you think it means to be a high value man. Like you're being silly.
Whale can think she's a 10 as long as that's how she defines beauty to herself.
Well, you guys just defined. Well, hold on, wait, Sneako, you just defined Brandon Carter as a high value guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that fits your definition of a high value guy, but I will tell you right now that that would not fit the same definition that say Ben Shapiro would have for a high value guy, because he doesn't have his babies on point, he doesn't have this on point, he's not going to church or synagogue every day, right? So to him, he's not necessarily a high value guy.
I don't think what his synagogue has to do with high value. That's like
because that's the way that other people would define it.
It's just that again, he's already exposed himself. When he said, "I don't think Ben Shapiro is a high value man," that means that you have an internal rule book for what you think a high value man is, and what they're asking you simply is to give them your definition. It's very simple stuff, and he's just refusing to do it because he's a coward. So I guess being a coward is part of being a high value male. Just own what you say. Say something stupid. Just at least say something. Like, who can respect somebody that won't like be honest about how they feel or think? This guy's so afraid that he won't say anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
is that true?
It's not, value is not subjective. When we talk about value,
It's
we're
the
usually
market.
talking
It
about
can
some sort
be
of
in some
exchange in a
cases.
market.
No.
Value is usually what are people willing to do.
Well, value is, you know, that value is subjective in different senses. It depends on the capacity, but like he understands that. But like again, like this guy just refuses to give his perspective on it, even though he has one.
Do or give for a certain thing. It's not defined by this. If one man is on an island with no people, there is no value.
No, this one over your head. It's the idea of being high value.
No, there is no idea of being high value. And if it was anybody else on the show, you guys would be roasting the fuck out of them for saying that's your idea of being high value.
That's
true.
true.
If any of the girls come here, because you do this to girls all the time, so it goes right. Like, I think I'm a 10. It's like, why? Because I'm so special and blah blah blah.
I say you're not special.
I just gave you Brandon Carter as an example. I just gave you Brandon Carter. We can use any single example you want. You could be the 500-pound guy who just does esports, or it can be like Brandon Carter or the top G.
500
Any one of those guys.
Shout out.
Still, Guys,
All right, look.
are you better off? Are you better off without the instructions? Are you better off without? Are you better off without the bag?
Everyone here has kind of a different thing. Like me, I've defined it. This is what I think makes you high value. You might have a different take on it. You might Rollo. You might have a different take on it.
It is interesting though. They will berate women for having a similar perspective to this guy, and they're walking like they have kid gloves on right now, and it's so interesting how like they'll be overly aggressive on women, and they'll just like fucking pander to to some men. Like it's so pathetic. It's embarrassing. Like it makes them look weak too. So I'm happy this whole interaction is happening.
Find it, and then I took my interpretation off what you said. If you want to get these things, and it makes sense to me, those things that you listed. But I'm seeing here.
Yeah, get up a second. It makes a lot of sense.
Interpretation.
But that's not true. All four of us probably roughly agree on what makes you high value.
No, we don't.
The three of us probably
Ben
do.
Shapiro said you said you have high value. I don't think.
Having like some amount of like physical fitness, we all agree
with
that decently valuable. Correct?
Yes.
On some level,
yes, you should do that.
Having some amount of like social status.
Yeah, I mean, that's very, it depends on what it is specifically, but yeah, for sure. Like social status doesn't need to be anything crazy. It could mean that like you're respected at work. You know, you're respected in your sphere, because usually you won't get respected in your sphere unless you're doing something to earn that respect. You know, unless of course you're like a furry, then of course obviously, you know, you're barking up the wrong tree. Huh? You didn't expect that one. Not me neither. It's how my brain works. But yeah, sure. I agree with that one.
So you've got the attention of a lot of people and you're influential. We all agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Having some amount of financial success, right? You have freedom to take care of your family, retire if you want to, even at an early age. We all agree with that, right?
Take care of your
having
family,
some level of success with your family and friends, right? We all roughly agree on that, right?
Okay.
If you have those four things in check, you're probably a high value man.
No, it's more than that. See, here.
I think that those four I mean, they're very vague, so it's hard to like specifically apply them to everybody. But those are four pretty good ones.
What he's saying. I can add more to it because for me, in my head, what high value is way more than that. To you, that might be important, but to me, it's not. That's not everything.
What's a key component missing from what I said?
Is a high value guy the guy that marries somebody from a foreign country and brings her over here so she can get citizenship?
Because
I don't know. That's a really specific answer. If he only got married to her because because she needed citizenship and he's one of those like gullible losers who like is getting played, maybe not, but also I guess I don't care. That's so specific, and I don't care. What? Okay. Don't these guys always talk about bringing girls from other countries because modern women are shit anyway? Like what?
That's your family dynamic. My family dynamic is different than that. Does that make me high value or low value?
exactly. It's going to depend on the person.
If I'm in a heterosexual marriage for 27 years and not in a polycule or some shit, like it's like some people will say you're high value because you do that. People will say, Rollo, you can't be red pill because you're married. You can't be married because you're red pill. Okay, and suddenly I'm blue pill because I am actually in a relationship where it's like clothes on her end, clothes on on her end, and clothes on my end. But if I go and I talk to the top G or I talk to somebody who's like in an open relationship, is that guy high value because of that? I'm not. This is not a judgment call. I'm just saying that the definition is going to be different, even if you have all those things. Even each one of those things that you just mentioned is still it's still subject to the context. I agree with what you said, Destiny. What I'm saying is that from within each one of those attributes, people are going to have something wildly different. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to use that for blog fodder and topics to go.
He's talking about Destiny? What? Did Destiny marry a girl to get her agree? I mean, like, did they only get married because, like, listen, my wife and I got married quicker than we wanted to because I needed health insurance. Right. But like we love each other very much. We just did it faster so I could get health insurance. So I get my health under control. Because the first step to losing weight, if you're obese, if you're overweight like myself, is to go to the doctor. Because if you have diabetes, you're going to have very low energy levels. That's good advice. That's helped me significantly in getting healthier. But like, so if it was the same with Destiny, where it's like, oh, we love each other, but like we'll get married so you get a green card. Okay. And now if he got completely played by her and he's like, that's different. But if it's just like a, hey, we love each other, let's get married, blah, 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 like whatever. Okay.
Go and do, quick hit videos on because they just want, click through rate for something like that.
What would we say about women? If we say, what is a high value woman?
Big tits.
Tell me, man. It's like, again, this is the definition.
Bro, this is like your wheelhouse. This is your chance to steamroll.
I don't think you understand why wheelhouse is. Quite honestly, I don't think you do.
Redpill shit. Isn't that what you do?
Your name is the rational male.
Yeah, a high value woman is.
I don't talk about high value women, dude. In fact, if anything, I say there's no such thing as a quality woman because it's an ideal that guys have in their heads.
What? Then there's no such thing as a quality man. What? What does this mean? Like everybody's gonna have some subjective stuff, right? Like you might have for instance, you out there might be the kind of guy who's like, I really want to work and I don't really want my wife to work, but I want her to be an excellent homemaker. That's fine. That's a fine definition for a high value woman. I love my wife and I like that she works. She's independent and she's very intelligent. So like I consider that very high value. Like those are my priorities. But what kind of a like no such thing as a quality woman? Like what a weird dumb thing to say. Like then say that same thing about a man. Like what? Just a dumb idiot.
There's no such thing as a quality woman.
No such thing as a quality woman because guys have this. The quality woman is an ideal, but we can talk about that when I get there.
I'd rather.
The thing is this is like when you're building a relationship or when you have this idea in your head. You want to know why guys get into so much fucking trouble in their marriages? It's because of that ideal. Because
probably because they cheat. I don't know. Don't do it, guys. I don't know. Don't do it. It's bad. Don't do that. It's bad.
Every guy who ever got married thought that she was the best fucking thing in the world. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got married to her. And then until he gets across the divorce table from her, now
damn right, baby. And I'm never getting a divorce because my wife and I are toxic. And if one of us ever proposes divorce, we will be. I can't even say what I want to say because it's horrible. We're very toxic, but that's why we love each other. All right, we deserve each other. Let me tell you something. I love my wife. All right, that toxicity that keeps us together. That's why we are so in love with each other. Okay, that's why I love her. All right. Sometimes I get drunk, like today at the when we were at the Texas State Brazil, and I say inappropriate things about my wife, you know, because I like her a lot and she's attractive to me. And I say them in front of my mother-in-law, but my mother-in-law is cool. She just laughs, and she, you know, my wife will be like, "Babe, stop and chill out," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't even realize it." So that's part of it too. Is I got lucky with the family too, because I'm an idiot sometimes. You know, I could say some pretty wild shit, and I don't even think about it. So the fact that my mother-in-law is chill with that, she's pretty cool like that. That's helpful, right? It's not just about the wife; it's about the family. Today, when we were at Texas, though, de Brazil, I was talking loud because I was drunk, and because we got 2 pitchers of sangria, you know, of course, and they didn't really drink much, so I had to drink like 1.5 pitchers of sangria. And I just said very loudly. I think my wife or one of us talked about having to go to poops, and I just yelled out like, "Yeah, I got to go take a shit," like really loud. And my wife's like, "Chill," because there's a little kid behind us. And then when we went into the mall, I saw something that looked delicious, and I said something like, "I want to shove that into my asshole." And like again, there's a little kid behind me. I was like, "Damn, I gotta filter my." And with his mom, you know, I gotta try to get my filter on sometimes. So
she's a fucking evil.
That's whenever you genuinely don't think that there's quality women in the world.
I think that there are women who have different attributes than others that match very well with guys. Sure, they're good clips, of course. The thing is like the idea of the quality woman is an ideal that guys have that gets them into a lot of trouble. That's why they're in love with the ideal, not the actual person. That's why
high value men, but there aren't high value women.
I'm not saying that I said there are high value men and there aren't high value women. Okay, it just
but there are or there aren't. I'm so confused now.
Depends on who we're talking about.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about, bro.
Bro, it's just funny when like you take somebody on that's like pretty intelligent and like let's be real, like that's even Sneako. He seems to be smarter than I thought. I mean, like now that he's not being out of his fucking mind, and you just match him with somebody like Rollo, and God bless him. He's trying his hardest, but you can see the steam coming out of his head, you know? It's just like, it's just a little bit beyond him. But it's funny. But is it bullying? Because there's no way this Rollo guy would ever really be able to, like... You know what I mean? Is that bullying, chat? One of the chat that's bullying.
Ridiculous. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
I get what he's saying. But
I feel like I need to do mushrooms before I come on the show. That's what it feels like. The kind of conversation.
No, you know what it is? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know what the fuck you're talking about.
Any of this, and I'm surprised.
Damn, he's got a very fragile ego too. He's getting so offended.
Because you write about this all the time. You wrote a whole book about it. People, they really respect it. And I have no idea.
You guys might be confused because I'm the one that says there's no such thing as a high value woman. A woman that's a woman gets her value directly from a man.
So why didn't he correct that and say I don't say that? But he literally just said he doesn't think that there's anything such thing as a quality woman. Also, stupid to think that, like, why is, like, it's really dumb to think that there's such a thing as a quality woman. Okay, whatever. Okay. I don't even care.
He gets in a relationship with. Because all women have value, but not all men have value.
All women don't have the same value. Well, don't even think about it. You know that's not true. If I give you a woman with 100 bodies and a woman with 0 bodies, if I give you one that's 500 pounds, if I give you one with 5 kids, so
here's my thing. Okay, here's my thing, because I've said this before.
I know men must become and women are. I know you're about to do this speech. But I'm just saying there are some women that are better than others.
I was going to say that. Of course. But all women have value to some level, but not all men have value because men have to build their shit up. So what I'm saying is that
not all men and women have value. Like there's men and women different value based on those individuals. I understand, like, what they're basically saying is that all women can have sex, which increases their value because it's generally easier for women to have sex. Of course it is, because men are more sex obsessed and women are like more like emotional and stuff. So, you know, it's easier for women to have sex since the market says, I want that punani, you know. Should I sell this? Wow. Nah, I don't think I sell that. But what's happening here? I'm like Porky Pig right now, literally. It's just silly. It's so weird. Also, women can work. I don't know if you guys know that.
High value woman.
That's not even true.
A high value woman gets her value from being with a high value man.
I don't even think that's true. All men have value to some
The
extent.
metric of success for a female is being able to get the best man that they can get.
Okay, this is just embarrassing for you. First of all, I think that a good man or a good woman finding a good person finding a good partner increases your value. Whether it's like an emotional capacity or whatever, right? Like being proud to take your wife or your spouse or whoever around other people. Like I'm proud to walk around with my wife. Like that's valuable to me, right? I enjoy that. I love my wife. I'm very proud of her. I talk about her all the time, almost like obsessively. She adds value to me with the nature of her existence. In fact, frankly, I enjoy the content that we make more together. And to be honest with you, I think that I've shown people how successful I can be as a content creator here, and I think I'm still growing and I have like a decent amount of growth to make. But I almost guarantee, like, I think that like within the next year, my podcast with my wife's going to be more watched and generate more revenue and just be better overall because the two of us together are better than either of us alone. Right. My point is that like people provide value to each other. This whole stupid regressive way of talking about these topics is just, it's just what I like to call silly goosery.
And men can build and do things. In places like China, where you're limited to the amount of children, what do? They opt for boys because they can go out and work and fucking get jobs and shit and do things around the fucking house or whatever, right?
Yeah, in the fucking 1980s. One child policy hasn't been around since the mid 90s, dude.
Sure. When it was grossly favoring the birth of boys because you could do more with boys than you could with women. Just the idea that like
that was a perception until now they're facing the consequences of that.
True. Well, so is Japan. That's a super homogenous.
That's one situation. Okay, you're using China, but let's be honest here. Why does it say women and children off the boat first, not men? Women have always had
Yeah, I mean that's chivalry. That comes from the fact that like women can make babies. Sure. If I don't care about that, I guess like if it came down to it, I would want my wife to live and first of all, children always make sense. Like they're children, they're younger, they have more to live for. Children should be prioritized over adults like all the time. So we don't have to look at that. When it comes to women, it usually comes off of like chivalry for sure. If you want to say we shouldn't do women, that's fine. I would prefer women. Because I guess they make life. But you could disagree with that. You could say like, oh, and I think in an equal society that shouldn't be like, okay, that's fair. But that doesn't prove any point. If anything, you could argue that that's part of patriarchy, devaluing women or only placing the value of women on their ability to have babies and blah, blah, blah. And you could sit here and like jerk yourself off of that.
It's a chivalry thing. But why is that? Because if you have 100 women and one guy, you can still continue society. But if you have 100 men and one woman, we're fucked.
Women are the vulnerable sex and men are the disposable sex. That's why.
Women have value inherently. So what I'm saying is this.
I feel bad for the way that you guys interpret life. Because it's just silly. Lead me to the mist. Lead me to the mist, little wisp. Okay, whatever.
Since every woman has value, for a woman to be high value, she's got to be able to lock down a high value guy. There's a reason why women take a man's last name and not the other way around. Women, when they meet,
you could also argue that just walked out of the fucking mist. God damn it. I went to fucking mine something. Whatever. I don't care. You could also argue patriarchy. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to be real with you because it really doesn't matter whose last name. If my wife wouldn't take my last name, she could hyphenate it. If she didn't take my last name, I'm old school when it comes to that. And that was like a pretty big deal breaker for me. If she didn't have an issue with it or anything, but we did talk about it. She's like, what if I did want to keep my last name? I said, you have to hyphenate it and have my last name on there. Because it's just like, because I'm a man. But if you didn't do that, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't advocate for that. For me, for my let's be honest, my ego, you have to take my last name. I have no rational thought to that, but I don't think that everybody has to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can say this is how I want to live something and be like, but you don't have to live by that. If somebody was like, yeah, I think that we're gonna have both of our lives or whatever. Okay, cool. Do you? Like, I'm not gonna respect you any less.
Meet each other and hug. The first thing they ask typically is,
different.
Do you have a man? Do you have a relationship? Tell me about your kids, etc. When two men meet, what do? Shake hands. What do you do for a living? Men are judged on creating value.
What?
Women are judged on creating children. Typically, now.
I don't know. Like, when I meet somebody, it's usually like a family function, and I'm just like, hey, oh, good. And then maybe we will talk about work, I guess. But I would do the same thing for a woman. Like, I'm not trying to fuck every woman I meet. I don't understand this. Or is it talking about two women meeting each other? Oh, whatever. Okay.
There's some women out there that chase success and make
I think the problem is I'm getting too locked into these dumb, like, what if scenarios that are just unproductive and silly. and disconnected from reality, and like how they're just proposing ideas that don't actually exist in the real world, and be like, yeah, this is always how women act. It's like, well, probably not. Okay.
Money, whatever, sure, but that is not the main goal of a female. The main goal of a female, from a biological sense, is to procreate. For a woman to procreate, she's got to be with a man. Typically, they want the best guy. For a man to procreate, he's got to create excess resources to be able to attract that woman. So what we bring to the table is different. And what I would argue,
I don't disagree with any of that, but there are high value women, and they're probably high value men.
I think a woman's only high value if she can lock down a high value guy. That's my take.
Okay, well, at least you have a definition.
That's my definition on it. Which again, I see all of us here at the table have different opinions, which is great. But that's my take on it. Like with a high value man, a high value woman.
No. I mean, what you want me to say is a woman who has a low body count, who is a girl from the Amish Dutch country in Pennsylvania who's never.
No, never. Actually, I don't think I could be. Listen, God bless all the Amish. They don't have good education, and I would never want to date an Amish girl. I'm sorry. It's part of being Amish is to just have a shit education. Okay, they're very closed off. Frankly, there's some abuse in there. I mean, I've seen the TikToks of the guy who he says he escaped the Amish community and talks about how like horrible it was in there. Never. I do like hairy women. Okay, I do like hairy armpits too. So that might work well for an Amish woman when it comes to me dating them. Okay, but who the that you do not want that? Okay, they also don't really have dental work there. Interesting, and the horses poop. And maybe they fuck the horses. I don't know. Then I can't compete with that. That's too big.
Ever, known another man, doesn't have any social media. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can go with this, but again, it's those are ideals. Okay.
Yeah, the ideals are important because ideals are what we strive for. An ideal is the whole.
And I go to Pennsylvania frequently because he mentioned Pennsylvania because there's a lot of buffets there. Okay. Miller's? Are you kidding me? If I ever did a Papa Gut meetup, it would be at Miller's, okay? Or Cece's. Specifically, the one in Pennsylvania was really good. You guys ever wonder why I'm fat? There's your answer.
And those ideals are also what lead us astray, which is why this list is fucking useful.
It's fucking useful, dude.
Ideals lead you into a better life. That's the whole point of an ideal. It's the best version of yourself. You're never going to be the best version of yourself, but the path to being the best version of yourself.
Every guy who ever thought he found his fucking soulmate, who ended up on the opposite side of the fucking divorce table from her, had a fucking ideal about that woman.
Sure, and every man that dies happily surrounded by his family.
And that happens for women, too. Like, we have to realize that it's not like women think they found the perfect man and it doesn't turn out that way, and men find the perfect woman and it doesn't turn out that way. Like, sometimes life doesn't turn out that way. Like, it's not just a man thing. Women, it happens to women as well. Let's just keep that in mind.
Who had a long
yes, I know the pastoral scene with everybody fought. Well, yeah, we're surrounded by his family. You know what? You know that like 90% of the population of the United States doesn't die like that. They actually die in assisted living, and nobody knows about it until the next morning.
Okay, as opposed to you, who's tweeting about dying in his motorbike in an accident. Okay,
you said you wanted to black metal.
That is a fucking fantasy.
What's happening?
These shots real fast.
We got another show coming up.
Yeah, we got another show coming up. I'm gonna go through this real fast. All right, so we got Kid Blue RB goes. Rollo dodging the defining a high value man is like the LGBT dodging what a woman is. Feels like I'm watching that one documentary right now. You're the grandmaster of RP.
Damn. That is a little bit funny. That one is kind of funny. That one is a little funny. I'll give him that. Okay, because there are some liberals who cannot define what a woman is, okay? A woman is anything I will have sex with. No, but I get that. That was funny.
You out of all people should be able to define what a high value.
He can't define high value male, but he can define us as douche nozzles.
All right, let me
Jesus
That's pretty funny though.
Microchip says, Myron, you're my guy, but you're giving Rollo an out. Let him stand on the chair he's standing on so he can continue hanging himself with his food.
I know you really want to defend him because
here's the thing.
I know you.
I can't believe they just air horned that. Who hits the air horn? Is it one of them or is it that other guy that sits behind the stage? That was wild.
It's a lot of the show around that book, but like, bro, he's making absolutely no sense.
Here's the thing.
Damn.
Everyone is interpreting it different. Obviously, I have my take.
There's the right way. There's the wrong way. Rollo, there's no positive interpretation. He just keeps saying he won't be a man and stand to his word. Just tell you what a high value man. I think a high value man is somebody that has at least $6,000 worth of Legos. Okay. Am I wrong? No.
On it, Rollo has his take.
He doesn't have a take, bro.
We all have different takes.
He doesn't have a take.
That's still a take.
That's still a take.
That's still a take.
Okay.
It is.
If this was some LGBT shit or some woman shit, we would be all laughing and roasting the fight. Rightfully so.
Yes.
If a woman came on and we were like, what makes a woman high value? And she's like, well, if she's in her moment and if she's girl bossing it up as hard as she can, that's a high value woman. Like, we would be roasting.
That's the same argument he's making right
Not
now.
what I'm saying. It's not it's apples and oranges.
He said he's boy bossing it right now.
That's the problem with all this shit. It's like you don't even understand the need.
This guy literally is going through. Listen to the way he talks. You don't understand. I never smile.
Feature of the tweet. That's why.
Because I'm asking you a specific question, you can't answer it. Ask if it's.
I mean, this is a 54-minute bit, and you still haven't answered the question. So there's no context to this that could ever exist that would make you look right. That's the problem here. You had your moment, you know, and you didn't shine with it.
It's not. It's a joke. It's not.
The minute, okay, here's the thing. Here's a high value. Let me give you a high value man. A high value man goes and fucks as many chicks as he possibly can, as many women as possible, and he fucking finds one little needle in the haystack, and he wipes up that girl because she happens to have no body count. She's like 100% in love with him, and I can go and rattle off all these extremes, and you know who's going to disagree with me? Every guy.
Well, is that what you think? Because that's silly goosery.
I'm fucking
not for nothing. Who wants a virgin though? Okay, at my point in life, I wanted a virgin was when I was horrible in bed and I was a little beta boy, right? Like, honestly, like if you're gonna, like, why would you want to just find a virgin? Especially since they're not looking to like date, they're just looking to fuck, right? So why, I don't know, like, wouldn't you want a girl with a body count? It's more like, I'm not your sensei. I'm not your senpai. I'm not trying to teach you everything. You know, that's weird. That's terrible sex. Who wants that? Not me. Okay. Oh, come on, dude. Why would you even do that?
Daily Wire is going to
say what you really think. Don't say it ironically. Say what you believe.
True.
What I'm saying is what I believe here. Okay, this is the whole thing. It's the point of the tweet is that it's your definition of what it is.
You wanted the virgin for the ritual? That's fair. I understand that.
I know. Ben Shapiro, you said Ben Shapiro is not a high value man. So you must be comparing him to some standard in your
there
head.
You
You said
go,
Bezos
yeah.
is not a high value man. You said Elon Musk is not a high value man. So there's some standard in your head that you're comparing these guys to that they're not matching up to. What is that standard?
Right. Well, let's all you would have to do is look at the personal life so you would understand this. Again, do I have time to go and enumerate all that? No, I don't. But if you go and you look at what they're doing, like look, let's just use Elon Musk for a second here.
Well, let's use Ben Shapiro. That was a good example. Ben Shapiro.
We can look at Ben Shapiro. How did he meet his wife? Do you know how he met his wife?
I don't
What did
know.
they
It was arranged, right?
Was it an arranged or family friends? I don't know.
No, basically what Ben Shapiro did was he wore this chick down over the course of God knows like 3 or 4 months, right?
What? He wore wait, what? What does that mean? He wore a girl down? What?
He would meet the definition of stalking and being a creeper if he wasn't Ben Shapiro, right? If he didn't have his
Hold on.
background.
Hold on. Okay, listen. I don't know what is and isn't true. Okay, there's a difference, and this is the problem between persistence and wearing somebody down. Right. And one of the problems is that in society, a lot of men, we do sometimes teach too much persistence. And I understand that. But I don't know the specifics of their relationship. But like, there's a difference. I mean, I just don't know. I have to know the context of it because that's very charged words, especially in an online environment that's obsessed with rape. Let's be real, and like grooming and everything. It's like, oh my god, it's people are obsessed with it. So I need to know a little bit more. Did he wear her down, or did he like get her flowers and talk to her at school and like became her friend? And then eventually she's like, you know what, I will give this guy a chance. And then it worked out. What is that? That's a lot. You can't. You have to be. He's got to have. He has to be ready. You have to be ready with receipts for that.
4 months. What does that mean?
Basically,
What it means is he wore her down is
What
what,
does that mean?
And he's very proud of that fact.
What does that
Hold
mean?
on, real quick. You seem to have a problem with this. When somebody asks you what is X, and then you go, well, it's X. You're not really answering the question. You've done this like 3 times. When you say wore her down over 3 to 4 months, what does that mean? Did they date? Did he see her after school?
What that means is he was persistent. He just kept wearing her down over the course of time.
How?
That's ridiculous, man.
That could be a thing, but like you have to be specific. What does it mean? Like what's the persistence? Like how, in what way? You need to be specific.
I will send you the video. I will
Sure.
send you the video.
Send me it right now.
Okay.
Say it.
Jesus.
What's the video? What is he referring to? I want to watch
You
it.
should viewer comments more often. It's cute.
Oh my god, it's cute. He is.
Okay.
Oh my
Well,
god.
And you should send your OnlyFans girls to come at me to debate me in your proxy next time.
We're asking to debate you right now, and you can't even.
Except next time, please find a girl who actually puts lenses in her glasses. A little weird.
You're so triggered, dude. Are you okay?
Not very rational.
I think
His 6 month will be the emotional male, I think.
because I would consider Ben Shapiro a high value guy. I would.
Yeah, no, everybody would, obviously.
But
Wait, you
yeah,
disagree with
takes
it?
on it.
Not Hassan. He would not agree with that.
Grandmaster?
The Godfather, the great.
Ben Shapiro met his wife, hung out with her for 4 months, and they both decided to get married. It was quick chemistry, I guess. I need to know the specifics.
Granddaddy.
Y'all just
Y'all niggas trolling, man.
Would you, Myron? Would you agree with his outlook on women?
Yeah, I would.
with Ben Shapiro's outlook on women?
Yeah. Ben Shapiro has literally come at you for
He's literally come.
exactly this. For
Yeah.
everything that these guys are talking about, he's come at you for exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so
you guys did a full show on this.
No, for sure. I disagree with him on as far as like the female stuff. Like, oh yeah, that like having sexual experience is like bad for you, like he was trying to say.
I don't think that's what he was trying to say. You said 50 women, and he was like, "Nah, that's a little much, fam." You know.
But I think objectively speaking, from
I think 49 is a good cutoff.
I listed as far as what I think makes a guy high value. He has all those things. Now he's limited on his knowledge of females for sure, right? Because I think he
That's probably true. You got to give him that.
only got with one girl, and you know she comes from a certain type. She comes from a family, and a certain family. I don't want to say because we're on YouTube, but.
What? What's the I don't know. What does that mean?
But I think that set her up. Yeah, cha-ching. That set her up to be.
Is it because she's Jewish? What is it? It's not a curse word. If she's Jewish, there's nothing wrong with being Jewish. What the fuck is happening?
A girl that would be to his liking. But the point I'm trying to make is,
what?
I think Ben Shapiro's a high value guy, but I don't agree with his stances on women.
Why is there just casual anti-Semitism? Like, who cares what like her religion is or ethnicity or whatever? You know.
Same thing with Steven Crowder right now. You guys were just talking about Crowder not too long ago.
Yeah, he's
like,
a loser.
Like right up until he got this divorce and all this stuff started coming out and Candace Owens and all that shit.
But that is separate from his advocacy for women or Ben Shapiro's advocate. Steven Crowder just seems like a really bad, abusive kind of person. And like for me personally, especially with kids, I hope that he gets therapy and him and his ex-wife can work it through so that he can be a better man for his kids. You know, like cause a lot of people are like, oh, I hate Crowder. I don't like Crowder, but you know, his kids and I understand being not a great guy. So I can empathize with that. I can understand not being the best when it comes to my anger. You know, I've never hit anybody, except in the bed. Because if it's not borderline DV in the bedroom, then it ain't for me. No, I'm just kidding. So I hope that he gets his shit together for his children, especially because you know you don't want to teach your children that that's appropriate response for when you get angry. You need to be more emotionally regulated, more emotionally intelligent, and you know, and it's a constant. You have to just always do that. You have to be better. You know, being a good man is about always trying to be a better man than you are now, right? So, yeah.
But I don't.
Everybody would have said he was a high value guy until now.
I think they're high value guys like Crowder and Ben Shapiro based on what they've accomplished in life. But I don't agree with their standpoints on.
Rollo
females.
thinks that if he disagrees with them, then they can't.
What
You guys are just, like, go back to fucking Twitch. Just go back to Twitch.
I don't know what he
Start
said.
playing games again. You have no fucking point. There's no point for either one
Excuse me, I'm banned on Twitch. I think that's what Sneako would say.
of you to be on this fucking show, quite honestly.
Dumbledore has spoken.
Because here's the thing: the traditional conservative beliefs don't necessarily work in today's sexual marketplace when it comes to dealing with women.
No, we agree, but that's the reason he thinks Ben Shapiro's not high value because he disagreed with you on relationships.
No, what I'm saying is that well, yes, I would actually agree with that simply because
Okay, so there's
does Ben Shapiro the way what his disagreement with you, does that then at least in some way diminish him as a high value man?
No,
what? We can disagree. I disagree with that.
The problem with a lot of the manosphere shit is that they assume that all women are the women that they meet at the club. That's the problem with it, because there are good women out there and there's good men. Like, don't live in Miami, Florida if you want to find like a better woman that's full of it. From what it seems like, just a bunch of OnlyFans girls and like women I wouldn't consider particularly valuable. But okay.
I'm asking Myron. I mean, because it's Myron who says, he's a high value guy, but like,
describe that he disagrees on the traditional relationships.
If you're like money, muscles, and game, okay. In this case, it's the female aspect of what makes a high value guy, right? If he disagrees with what he's not disagreeing with me, he's disagreeing with Myron.
He just said that he's high value.
He said he's high value, but except for that one part where he's saying, you know what, I disagree with his outlook when it comes to like women and how best to go about like forming relationships or whatever, the sex, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think he's a high value guy, but I disagree with his notion on how to deal with women.
Well, he's not fucking 50. He's not fucking 50 guy or 50 women.
Damn, it'd be great. I would watch Ben Shapiro fuck 50 guys. That'd be wild, dude. Holy moly.
No, he's not. He's not. He's against that, which I think is dated. You know what I mean? Again, like I said before, I think a guy could be.
I'm against it too. Like, I mean, I think it's okay to sleep around a little bit and feel yourself out and sow your wild oats, but the arbitrary number of 50 is wild.
Be traditionally conservative, but I'd not agree. I don't necessarily have to agree with someone's viewpoint.
A girl in the chat said that she lived in Miami, Florida for 6 years. I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to at you, but the only reason that you criticize, the only reason you mentioned that is because you have a guilty conscience. Okay, good thing that you moved. Miami, Florida. If I moved to Florida, I'm thinking somewhere in the Orlando area because it's close to this place. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before. It's called Disney, and I like Disney. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I'm a little bit of a Disney guy, and my wife is a Disney girl, so I love my wife. I like making her happy. Okay, I don't care. I don't care if you're like, oh, that's cringe. Okay, I don't care what you think. All right, especially if you're like some guy that's like, oh, it makes you less of a man to like Disney, bro. If I care what you have to say, it's kind of gay. Oh, wait, I don't care about the validation of other men. All right, there's only one person giving me that toppy, bro. I'm not interested in what you think. You're not a girl, but I don't care. Shut the fuck up. They have good education in Miami, Florida? Okay, maybe. All right, I'll believe you. I'll let you cope.
On how they deal with females for me to see them as high value, because I think he accomplishes all the things that I mentioned on my list of what I think makes a guy high value.
And so what you're doing is you're saying that high value is these accomplishments, correct?
Yeah, I'm interpreting it. Yeah, that's how I interpret it. Which obviously everyone here at the panel has a different opinion.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I agree. I respected, accomplished.
Which is
we don't really have a different opinion.
I feel like our definitions are pretty aligned at the table.
Yeah, with us three, yeah. But I mean, again, we're looking at things differently in general.
Okay.
Because you guys don't agree. I agree with his tweet if you want to become high value in the quickest amount of time.
But you can't agree with it if he doesn't even define it. You can't agree with him if you don't even know what his definition is.
But
does he agree with it? Defined by the way he defines it.
No, but he did though. He chose what high value means to him. You're missing the point.
Thank you. Fresh.
What does a high value mean to me? Oh, it means I just masturbate every day to VR porn, and I just sit alone and I play Albion online for 10 hours a day, and I still don't shower, and it doesn't matter if I can make any money. I don't care. I'm a high value man.
The voice of reason.
It's going over your head because you guys are thinking about 1 point vasectomy. That's it.
We weren't even on vasectomy, but that's okay. I think we come to the bottom of this.
It's common sense.
Well, Myron agrees with the tweet that I'm talking about, according to what his definition of a high value guy is, correct?
Yeah, he knows
even his own chat knows that like he's running too much defense for you. Myron, you got to stop, bro.
Definition.
Yeah,
exactly.
High value men are just like people.
That's why Myron's not talking, because he just got roasted by one of the donators. Gave him a bunch of money to say that like you're kind of wrong about this, brother.
Have high value and I'm in. I agree. I got it.
All right, I'll hit these other ones. We got here Viking Paradigm, ignoring the context, talking over, interrupting ad hominems, goalpost shifting, claiming it's advice when it's not. It's easy to see who's trying to control their viewers and who's not, and easy to see who lost the debate.
Hey, you're a douche nozzle. That's a douche nozzle thing to say.
Shut up, Viking, man.
That's not very rational of you.
Life, love, value. Women aren't so simple. Leave these RP dudes alone in their zone to stew. Responsibility, intelligence, and discipline above all, and are talismans of happiness for most people. Enjoy life, grind, and don't glorify.
Hey, I agree.
Anyone.
Okay, 100%.
I'm grinding Albion online right now.
Mike Rashid, I hope y'all don't let Rollo's weird immigration comment fly by.
Immigration.
Oh, what do you say, dude?
I wish I got an invite for discussion.
I wish I got an invite for this discussion.
He should come to the round table next week.
He's not Trump.
What am I talking about?
Immigration?
I don't know.
What did he say about immigration?
Up to you guys. Question mark.
What was he referring to, the Amish girls? I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe he said something somewhere else.
That was it.
Oh, John.
Why am I
100%.
so slow?
100%. If I wanted to learn how to become a successful man, I'd go to Rollo before going to Sneako or Destiny. Two grown-ass men who argue like teenage boys.
All right, so a 55-year-old guy calling us douche nozzles to someone who's like 3 times younger, that's a mature way to argue?
Damn, dude, you're getting them.
If that's your idea, then okay.
Wow. Shots
I
fired.
think that's good. I think it's a good thing that they prefer Rollo. And I alluded to this before, but you know, when it came to like, if you listen to the advice about getting a vasectomy, that's probably a good thing, because if you're listening to any of these people's advice, you probably shouldn't have kids. But it's this. I remember a long time ago, kind of like a friend. I worked with the guy. He's a nice guy, and he gave me some advice when I was like having like kind of an argument with somebody that I worked with as well, another person. And his advice is like, you know, don't waste the energy on trying to communicate to somebody that you're right all the time, because if they listen, they just become a better person. And sometimes
Josiah Benjamin super chatted $8.22.
Hold on. I'm on a roll. I'm gonna replay that. I'm on a roll. Okay. Fuck. What did I even say? Okay. I said sometimes it's not worth the energy to change somebody's mind, because it just makes them a better person. And not everybody deserves to be a better person. Right? Like you don't have to, or maybe rather you don't necessarily have to make that like your own thing. So sometimes it's like, yeah, if you prefer to listen to Rollo, like that's awesome, man, because like that's, I mean, the less successful that you know you are, it's just, it doesn't matter to me, you know. Your success means nothing to me specifically. So, you know, listen to shit advice.
That's just what.
Oh, I gotta play the alert after I go through the mist.
Josiah Benjamin super chatted $8.22. Kate Pappy.
What
Where
up, dude?
have you been? Did you watch the Wings versus Spooky fight?
So I was banned for a week, and I'll link it again right now. You can take a look at the podcast where I talked about it specifically. You know, it's segmented, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And no, I don't watch that. I think it's kind of embarrassing that the two of them, I saw like a little clip of them on stage, like showing off their bigness, and it just kind of reads to me as two individuals that are so against getting real jobs that they will sell their whatever's left of their dignity for some quick cash. And I hope to never be like them, and that's why I always want to have it in my programming of my mind that I am willing to get a real job again if this falls through, because I never want to have that little respect for myself. I just don't. You know, there's you can make body humor as a big person and like make funny jokes about it, and you see some comedians do that. But there's a difference between making jokes about yourself versus being the joke. And so, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's my opinion on that. And I'm not gonna make like a video about it or anything. It's just like it's sad.
What happened on the show?
And no, I'm not gonna play Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because I don't really play Zelda games.
This is a great debation.
Do you have anything to say? Like you called in.
Great debation.
Where can they find y'all?
I mean, they know where to find. We plugged them out.
Go back to Twitch. That's some advice for you. That's some
Go
real
back
advice
to
for you guys.
Twitch.
No business fucking being any of this shit right here. You're not ready to
Is he criticizing my Tourette's? Go back to Twitch? What the fuck?
have an adult conversation.
I've seen you chatting more than any other name in the chats. I re-chat like whenever I stream, which is when I'm online, and you're in there more than me.
True.
So calling us Twitch, actually, I'm banned on there. I'm on Rumble, but yeah, if you want to pull the online card, then maybe get off the internet a little bit and chatting all day.
I got you.
Douche nozzle.
It's a lot harder when it's not just like 22-year-old women being ganged up on a podcast, huh? I'm sorry, Rollo.
No, I'll be happy to fucking debate you, dude. On any topic you want.
You just did, and you got rolled.
We are right now.
We just did.
No, you're talking about this one fucking tweet is what you're talking about.
Well, we were talking to the Godfather of Redpill trying to.
And speaking of fucking,
they couldn't even get the Godfather of Redpill to say what a high value man was. You kind of can't win if that's like your whole core philosophy. Like if you can't even define the thing that you're all about, then what are you supposed to do?
Speaking of fucking tweets, or excuse me, speaking of fucking super chats, was that not you on whatever podcast the other night?
Yeah, I like to support people that go on to have a podcast.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for at least admitting it.
Those are the only 2 super chats I've sent in my life. If I'm watching content and I want to know if it's Redpill or not, I just
seems like you're watching a lot more than you think you are.
Program I've ever been on.
That's true. He
It's
watches a lot
insane.
on his stream.
You should get a tax credit for like watching me.
Bro, do you have anything to say? Why are you staring like that, man? Okay. I thought you'd have a rap.
No, you guys, let's see. Here's the thing. You guys, first of all, I've thrown out this
Slayer in his car after the show.
First of all,
What
you
does
guys want to
Slayer mean? I don't
come
understand.
to Vegas? Come to Vegas. We'll sit across the table from each other.
Oh, build up your fucking dog shit podcast. What are you talking about? Come to Miami.
I am coming to Miami
next week.
Oh, cool.
Whoa, I would never. I don't think I'd ever go to Miami. No, thank you.
You guys are so mean, man.
Yeah,
Bro, I didn't say. What do you mean we're mean?
You guys are so mean. What do you mean? What happened? Bullying is good. Don't they always advocate for bullying people? I mean, bullying is not good. I think that there's a goodness in being blunt and very forward, and people interpret that as bullying, like a bunch of silly gooses. But you guys say bullying is good, so by your logic, he's getting bullied. He needs it, right? Doesn't that struggle of getting bullied make you a better person, guys? This is the Godfather of Redpill. He should be able to handle this in droves. If anything, he's just like Jesus Christ, and he's right now he's absorbing all of the sins of the manosphere. I mean, if anything, he's a hero. I don't think any people are understanding that.
Call this douche now. Oh, it's fine. He's the Grand Wizard of Redpill, so I can't go say anything about that. But I'm mean now because
I used to be a Grand Wizard. No, I can't make those jokes anymore. I gotta stop.
calling him irrational for not having any arguments
In World of Warcraft.
at all. Bro, I know you want to defend him because the book is here on the table, but
Rollo said he would rather die listening to Slayer than die old. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
like, bro, that made no sense.
There's a band I used to listen to. I don't think they really make anything anymore. It's called Anacrusis, I think. ANACRUSISX. They're pretty good. They're also what is it, thrash metal? You know, I used to be a fan of thrash metal. But
you guys have not read the book. You guys don't know what the fuck
I'm
you're
not reading
talking
your book, bro. You can't even define what high value man is. Why would I read a book from a guy who can't have a clear definition?
You read the book.
I'm not going to go there. I'm fucking for the last half hour. I've been trying to explain to you this shit to you. You guys have no business being in this fucking sphere to begin with. First of all.
yeah.
Second of all,
until you're 65.
Damn, now he's gatekeeping. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't be getting made fun of right now. Like, that's what happens when you talk to people with different perspectives, you goose. You silly goose.
And the reason why is because you devolve into, you want to know why, like, when we talk, nobody debates anymore. You know why? Because it devolves into this middle school bullshit.
Debates are stupid. All debates are dumb. Conversations are better. Nobody debates anymore. People debate all the time. Debates are about just winning. They're not about being right. But, like, you lost the conversation and the debate, so.
Both of you are, you guys are perfect. Yes, you guys should marry each other.
You can't call the shot.
Whoa, dude, they should get married. That's fucking gay. I mean, maybe. I think they'd make a cute couple. That'd be cool.
When you were the one who started insulting, I would just ask you a question, and then you said douche nozzle.
True.
Now you're going to go play the maturity card?
Kind of true.
Yeah. Now I'm going to play the maturity card.
That was a middle argument.
Yeah. Personally,
All right,
I'm going to play my Exodia card because I got all 5 in my deck and my hand.
This is not going anywhere.
This was a great debate.
I like
Debation.
Well, I mean, it's very obvious that everyone here has different takes, which is great. I think that's good.
I'm not sure what his take is still. But
But that's cool. It's different than ours. We know that.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Chris? Or
Let's see. Nope, we're good.
Damn.
All right. Bro, do
Smash
you have
that like
anything
button.
that you want to say before we?
I was gonna say I'll be there next week.
All right, cool. I think we'll have him on the 15th.
That's the
Okay. Well, so like, do you guys think he's gonna end up canceling because you know he has hemorrhoids or something? Because
boxing match. Just kidding.
All right.
do I think it would be Deco or Sneak City? I think it'd be Sneak City, like Destiny and Sneako together, like Brangelina. I think Sneak City would be actually excellent. Kind of rolls off the tongue. Sneak City, like it's like Sneak City. It's kind of cool, honestly, if you really think about it. But okay, yeah, good, interesting video. You know, no, there's really no there's no absence of content farming when I engage with Destiny's content. You know, always. So I guess God bless, peace be with you, and also with you.